Glennon Red McKee was very young in 1941.
One morning I remember specifically, and these tanks come up and surrounded our house and scared me to death. I didn't know if it was the Germans, Japanese, or what it was. I run for the window, went out the window, went to my grandma's and grandpa's, which was about a mile and a half across the pasture, screaming.
In 1940, Frances Drake was 19.
At that age, probably I was interested in the young boys.
The Drake family had one of the few telephones in Mitchell. They were an air observation post.
And every time we heard planes go over, we had to use this code and call Houston. One day I definitely remember it was on a Saturday and my mother had gone to Shreveport and this soldier with a gun came to the back and he said, "You're under arrest." And we said, "For what?" And he said, "Because you are in command of an observation post." And we told him that we weren't. We thought he was teasing, so I remember we said, "Oh no, you're not going to capture us." And he said, "Oh yes, I will. I show you I can." So he blew his whistle, and from every building, there was a barn out here and a little chicken house over here and some trees over here. The soldiers just came out. I mean, all of them with guns, and they literally surrounded the house. I don't recall. They didn't really take us anywhere, but I do recall he scared us to death.
Every day, a reconnaissance plane would fly over, very low.
And he would fly low enough that we went out and started waving to him. And after that had been going on for several days, we went out one morning and waved, and he came back over, and we saw this little parachute, this little white parachute, slowly come to the ground. And it landed right in our backyard.
Hello? This is a funny way to become acquainted, but I would like very much to meet you. Please drop me a card or letter. My address is Lieutenant John W. Williams, Ragley, Louisiana. I will answer it if you will. See you again soon. P.S. Sorry this dirty handkerchief is all I have to wrap this in.
Then naturally, being a young girl, I was interested in correspondence, so I wrote a letter. I had returned back to Northwestern to go to school, and it was, the first or second week of school, and my mother called and said that the commander of this particular group had called her, and they seemed to know who I was, and that this, his name was Johnny Williams, that he wanted to meet me before he was shipped out. And could she bring me to Mansfield, where they were bivouacked, isn't that what you call it?
She said they were, what they being whacked? Who was being what, ma'am? Say it again.
In the woods outside of Memphis, where
they was in the woods.
Bivouacked, isn't that what you call it? Could she bring me to Mansfield, where they were bivouacked, isn't that what you call it?
Who was being whacked, ma'am? Talk to me. Who was man? Come on now, y'all. Walk with me right now. Walk with me. What's going on down in Louisiana?
Responding to the outbreak of war in Europe, the U.S. Congress mobilized the National Guard and Reserve in 1939 and approved personnel increases that more than doubled the size of the regular Army. To train this new force and assess the readiness of current equipment and doctrine, Army Chief of Staff General George C. Marshall directed the Army to conduct large-scale field exercises. But even before Marshall's directive, 3rd Army was training soldiers for war. In 1936, 3rd Army held its first command post.
Now, before we move a little further, y'all, I got to let y'all know, my grandfathers, I was just telling the Instagram, so I'm telling y'all out there on the tube, everybody that's in the chat in the world, this is why I get up and fight every day. In my spirit, I knew it was something just more going on than just in this world. I can see that the love of my family that was great at times, but subpar. Other times, I'm not going to just say many, but I'm just saying there's times where I know as us as people have felt the fake love through the real love, sometimes more fake than real. And I can understand, even back then, I was starting to understand that it wasn't no amount of money, no material things that was going to not only bring myself happiness, but the people in my family. If I brought kids into this world, the world around me. So I was really questioning God, like, if Jesus Christ is real, what is this about? And how have we become, not only as my people as a nation, I seen poor kids of all walks of life. So I just wondered, like, was it a specific thing? I never really thought that the Afro Americans was the real true Hebrews, Jews, and Israel until later on in life. But now I just understand, like, why, it's just such a great thing that we all waking up and realizing, like, a lot of us who are truly phenotype, genotype wise, haplogroup wise, Afro American, the real Jews, our forefathers have really, they were met with atrocities and war crimes and treason from people of many, many nations who they were trying to civilize and help. They went built up different little places, like when they talking about what's that, Liberia. When you look back, you see the Army Corps of Engineers, who are all Afro Americans. Those was the ones who went out there to civilize these parishes, or what they want to be called townships. However, they were governed from the 1800s to early 1900s. We were the ones who were going out and making these ventures under the name of God and really raising the people up, teaching them law, how to really bathe and wash their behind. Everything that everybody take and say, okay, the black man did this. It was really the people of God, y'all. And so my forefather, St. Thomas, he was a person who lived down in this city called Leesville, Mount Vernon Parish. Fort Johnson is going to be called Fort Pope. What's very important is, for World War I and World War II, the so-called black people who won the, I believe I forgot what Medal of Honor it was, but it's the highest Medal of Honor that you can win in the Army when you're serving out in the war. And they were the ones who were the war heroes of World War I and World War II. They trained at this facility. So, it's just something important that I know I'm having to figure out alone by myself. I do want the help of my family. I do want the help of people who I do feel like are reaching out to the truth, not only for themselves, but for the people around the world. And so I do ask that the brothers and sisters out there, y'all should start doing this not only for yourselves, but for y'all family members and the ones around y'all. I'm really trying to help teach and lead the people, not only in just truth, but in honor and glory, because we must call out to our Father, to try to teach y'all about true repentance, how real prayer starts in the mind. It starts before you even speak your first word. So that's why every day you got to refresh your spirit and keep it in your spirit, And so I understand that you can pray through the spirit, and that'll be like through your actions. You can pray in your mind. So the things that you're saying in your mind before you even come out, and then, you pray physically out in the mouth too. And so the physical form too is like connected to the spirit. So your works and y'all fruits. And so it's just like, we're going to take it one day at a time, one step at a time. But it is time for our people to wake up and realize Babylon, first of all, is falling. And everything is on God's time, so he can let it fall down as long as he wanted to. But I'm saying it's up to the people who truly believe in God, no matter what color, what nationality, what race you is. If you believe in the real true God is the father of Jacob and Isaac, Abraham, Adam, the promises that was made of that covenant to Jesus Christ, and through that Christ and his sacrifice. And so if y'all believe in that, then it's time, y'all, that we start really waking up and understanding what real law is. Law, air, the land being common law, coming through like the Magna Carta or your state constitutions, not your federal contract. But that next we got air, not AIR, but HEIR, which would be ecclesiastical trust law. So that's why you want to be the things of not the temporal things, but the ecclesiastical things. You want to be of the things that's of the spirit and not of the material. So that's why, we have become carnal. And I believe what Mr. Professor and B was really explaining in a good way is like, once you start falling into these different belief systems and different type of maybe eating patterns and just all type of things that you can change in your life, you start really do regressing mentally and spiritually and becoming more carnal minded. So it's time for us to get back into the true spirit of God and have and really try to usher in heaven on earth. Because right now we definitely have raising hell on earth to the highest of the heavens. And God is really coming down to squash it on out, y'all. So we on borrowed time right now. It's one day at a time, one step at a time, but it's definitely time for us to understand, even like I said, get to the last part, water, which is land and water. God gave that to Adam in Genesis, I believe, 26 through 28. So that will make him the first Lord of the land. He is the Lord of Lords. And then Jesus Christ came before him, because Jesus Christ was supposed to be given the whole thing. He tried to take from the Father and say, hey, Father, I can do this more than you, because Jesus Christ was the word from God's sound mind. came the word, which is Christ, and then through everything and for everything was made for Christ. So y'all understand where I'm going, that Christ took his own inheritance and tried to take it from the Father and say, the Father, I'm better than you. You even though you created this for me, you know what I'm saying? So we got to understand, as children of God, men and women, we the second angels. Christ and the celestial bodies being the first angels, Adam and Eve being the second angels. And so understanding that, water, which has put us under a commerce law, which Hermes being the god of commerce and trade. And when you understand about the Magi and the magician wizard order and how it ties back to the Anunnaki, and of course Marduk and Il-Nana and all these things about Inca and Aliyah, we will talk about on my other subjects, but it do tie into everything, y'all. So as I'm giving this brief synopsis of what they will call a brief summary of why we talking about this specific video, is just to say this gonna be the first on the true history and a breakdown of why Afro-Americans are the way they are, and why they are, first of all, made black, dead 13th, 14th Amendment citizens in law, why they are dead amendment chattel property slaves, and why they have very much misunderstandings on multiple things that are morals, values, and integrity and universal principles of life, and have more activated and took into the participation of sin and death. And so, and for us to be able to really, like professor say, to get the things going the correct way, y'all, which means we need to circumambulate. That means everything started with God and Christ. And so therefore, understanding that, child, we need to understand how to turn the wheels of time and our life and our spirit, and just the way this whole world is stuck in a death cycle, spin, spin, spin. You know, you want to be frugal with your money, understand not to be wasteful, you know, just the way they have made and turned our whole essence of what life really is into what they would call a conundrum, you know, just a whole bunch of heap of BS, y'all. So what we're gonna do, one day at a time, one step at a time, no matter what Rico talking about, I'm trying to lead my people to the water, and hopefully I can see that it is the water of life, and y'all would rather drink from it besides going to eat from the apple and the bananas of good and evil, of knowledge. And you know, like the professor of that teaching is monkey mind and necromancy, and it leads back to some nasty, vile things. And you know, people start looking like monkeys and apes and all kind of stuff, man. I'm telling you right now, it ain't what you want. So let's get to it, man, because my grandfather, he was murdered in 1937 out there in Louisiana, Leesville. And I'm going to stand up and fight for him if I don't do for nothing else, while I'm fighting for God and fighting for Christ and for the kingdom of heaven on earth and the little children. What's up, Ryan Garcia? You know I'm fighting for you, big bro. Hey, shout out to your homeboy. I'm supposed to load that up, and I'm load that up on your video, because I hit up your homeboy. He looking out in my store, not even letting you know that I'm trying to reach out to you. So I don't think you faking, Ryan, but I do feel like it is some snake, amphibian, reptilian, Tabor, Kadesh, Magi priests around you who acting like they cool, but in hindsight, man, they with the trans Baphomet agenda and all of that, bro. So I'm praying for your safety and for your well-being, and I hope God just sending good people around you, big bro. And I'm gonna continue standing up for the ones who trying to have a voice, but for those who don't have a voice. So I just want to thank y'all, and again, thank you, God, for each and every day that you give me to have strength to be able to talk. So let's get to it, y'all.
Exercise, the 2-week Battle of Texas. Army conduct large-scale field exercises. But even before Marshall's directive, Third Army was training soldiers for war. In 1936, Third Army held its first command post exercise, the 2-week Battle of Texas. In 1938, Third Army conducted the first of several large-scale comprehensive field exercises, known as the Louisiana Maneuvers, against no...
Now, I'm going to tell y'all, if you stay out there in North Carolina, South Carolina, I just discovered, see, I didn't know. Some of this information I've been sitting on 6 months, 8 months, a year and a half, 2 years, 3 almost, you know, since about 2020. So, you know, I can really show certain screenshots and stuff how, like I say, I understand God just prepared me for this time to where as I present my information versus maybe the way other people present theirs, no shade to them. I just know I'm coming with truth, no ego, all Rico, man, and God, man. So really it's going to be presented in a way the way you can easily get it. Dissect the information, take it within yourself, study, research, expound and build on it, bring it back to God, bring it back to your family members, the ones you love and care about, the ones who you know maybe don't even want to hear this. You know, you want to be able to learn how to break it down in such a way that is undeniable, and that's the way that I'm gonna do it. And I just feel like when you got ego, y'all, you can't really do that. The way God teaches is no ego in it. Even when he says, I am the one and only, blase blah, he teaches it in such a way that it's like, if you miss the many times, which is a gazillion times, God teaches true things in the Bible, you know, so many times over. It's to say that he does it in such a careful way, in such a strategic way that you can't really have ego in it, because your ego would cause you to stumble upon your own sword, if y'all understand what I'm saying. So that's why I understand, like, the way I'm able to present the information is just, you know, it's more sound in the mind. And y'all won't have no feelings towards me as I do call out different people of different communities and say, hey, y'all wrong. Y'all need to stand up, repent, get away from that, because that's wrong, you know. And so no matter who I'm talking about in the way that I might be talking about them, y'all know I'm coming true from my heart to stand up not only for my people in my community, not only for the people that's been destroyed of my family lineage and the greater nation of God, but the whole world, because God say we all his children. So even the ones that was a little bad, was a little good, it's the ones who really at the top want to control and stay in this bloodline family of, we're going to destroy, murder, kill, deal, anything that we can to these people of many nations so they can stay going against God for eternity. And so that being said, it's a fallen angel, first angel, and then it's a second angel, man and Eve, Adam and Eve together in this Tower of Babylon and thought process mindset and in unison against God with AI built into it. So Hollywood, music, your electronics, Elon Musk, they all with it right now. And then you got your you got the devil, Satan, the trans Baphomet agenda with the man mixing with woman, and you got AI all together, and it creates a great illusion. They call it a spectacle. So that's why when you look in the 1960s and the 50s, and as you go before that, the best picture makers like Steven Spielberg, they were specters, like they were great. And to understand what that means is like they were able to put a grand delusion. When you look at H.G. Wells, when you think about Orson Welles and all these different people, W.D. Griffith, and I'm trying to think the other guy, but we're gonna do that homework and that research, y'all, because we got to be able to understand what really took place in time for us to really have to be able to come to an agreement. That's the main thing. We must agree, not to disagree. We must all agree that it's that time to really repent and go back to the Father and understand it was a great atrocity and a great act, or like I say, war crimes, a Holocaust, a genocide against a specific people, to cut them off from being a nation and to make them not only in law dead, but actually have killed them by the millions, and then have them themselves commit genocide and Holocaust on themselves, whether it be through abortion, 200 million in abortion, shout out Rowe, being able to bring us to that, and just the multiple of ways that we are willfully and ignorantly allowing our seeds of God, the children of Enoch, again, Jacob, the 12 tribes, the real ones who have been trying to struggle through the ups and downs of what the rest of the world believe in. No matter what belief system it is, it's the world. If it ain't God in that Bible, KJV, and understanding what God really, then it's everything else, y'all. So we're going to get to it. But these people, they flying planes, they doing all kind of things. Y'all hear me? And it's like, come on now, y'all, we got to get to it. This in 1936. Come on now.
National coalition forces invading from the south. The 19th of several large-scale comprehensive field exercises known as the Louisiana Maneuvers against notional coalition forces invading from the
maneuvers was all over America now.
South. The 1938 maneuvers trained more than 58,000 soldiers in a 4-state area, Louisiana, Texas, Alabama, and Mississippi, in all aspects of combat. The 1941 Louisiana maneuvers were the largest U.S. Army peacetime maneuvers up to that time. More than 600,000 soldiers, divided into 2 armies, fought over a
600,000 soldiers, family? I said 500,000. They said 600,000 soldiers, family. Hold on, let me pull this off the screen. My bad. 600,000, family. That's alarming, family. Everybody radar that's in the chat. Hey, man, when you come in, hit that like, subscribe, share. Know the devil don't play foul, but God do. So we got to make it do what it do, not what it don't do. Y'all know what I'm talking about? So understand, 600,000 people, y'all. Just the great state of Louisiana, family, not even the great state of Texas, but they said they're coming through Texas to get to Louisiana. So I'm just trying to figure out. They said they're coming up through the south on boat. They're coming down from the north on tank. Sound like they came in from every which way possible. I wonder what this really was. Let's
1,000 square mile area. Aspects of COUP area. Louisiana trained more than 58,000 soldiers in a 4-state area: Louisiana, Texas, Alabama, and Mississippi, in all aspects of combat. The 1941 Louisiana maneuvers were the largest U.S. Army peacetime maneuvers up to that time. More than 600,000 soldiers, divided into 2 armies, fought over a 30,000 square mile area of Louisiana and East Texas. Third Army's Louisiana maneuvers provided vital training for soldiers who would go on to fight and win in Europe and the Pacific.
Come on now, man. That fake ass story. And one thing I know, man, them hell fighters and them whoever them was, man, that 76th 1st Battalion in the World War II, fake stories, y'all. We go look at them too later on in the little history series. We go see that when they telling their stories and they reenactments, I'm talking about real life, bruh. You can tell it is Manchurian candidate. It is, in fact, not a robot talking, but a force-fed story that they cannot deviate from. And when they do deviate, they cut them cameras off and they probably give them a little shock treatments, probably give them a little hit to the temporal loom and hit them with that little thing that go right in your eye to your brain. Come on, man. They trying to hit them right in the seat of the soul, family. So we got to get to it, man. We got to stand up. Now, what's most important is before we get to going into Louisiana maneuvers, which we might not touch on it fully today, but we really got to touch on how did we get here, y'all. So again, it's about going back and being able to touch on history so we can bring it up to today. Because right now we are still in emergency war powers that were enacted since 1865, y'all. In fact, they said since the Civil War of 1865, they asked Congress, the president at that time, asked Congress for emergency war powers for the executive, the president, the manager of the company, a dead corporation, to have powers to control the world and go to war with an enemy that they said, and I'm repeating, in Franklin Delano Roosevelt. So I feel like if Franklin Delano Roosevelt said this, I believe President Lincoln said this the same time too. He said the same way. He said they wanted to enact powers so great to wage a war against the world, but the world, and I'm paraphrasing, is really in their own nation. So what Franklin Delano Roosevelt asked was say, hey, presidents, no. Hey, nation, all my citizens, all my voters, all my people that's trustees and everything else they need to be government officials. I need powers to whoop the people, not outside the nation, y'all. I don't need to be whooping nobody that's over in Japan. Now we're not worried about Russia, or Austria, Hungary right now. We're not worried about the Boer Wars or the Spanish-American Civil. None of that. I mean, not the Spanish Civil War. None of that. We ain't worried about none of that right now, y'all. As I'm coming into my presidency, my first inaugural address is asking the world for enough power to whoop these people that's in our own country. Do y'all hear what Rico is saying, y'all? Let's get to it, man. Let's talk, man. Let's let him say it.
Franklin Delano Roosevelt, do solemnly swear that you will faithfully execute the office of President of the United States and will, to the best of your ability, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States. So help you God. I, Franklin Delano Roosevelt.
Now, the God they talking about, hey, one thing I can say, it's the God of the underworld. But for sure, y'all, look, check this out. When we get to these right here, these eagle wings, understand that these eagle wings go back to the Magi, go back to when Abraham and the furnace with the Zoroastrian priesthood, which were the Magi from the Babylonian and Anunnaki. So understand that I'm going to connect this in different ways to the marine spirits, all different type of ways, y'all, to sound and how sound became light and why these people had to control not only the law, because understand, if from a sound mind comes the word, which is Jesus Christ, then what is the word? Wouldn't the word become law? Y'all understand what I'm trying to say? So when people talking about what's that not syntax grammar, so when they talking about that stuff, just understand that numbers really can turn into words, or words can turn back into numbers. So if you wanted to take the Magna Carta or whatever and reverse it into numbers and stick it into a computer, yes, that's how they work. That's called coder. So understand that the reason why the magi, or these people of this magical alchemy and hermetical priesthood, had to stay in power, old bloodlines who gave way to fallen angels and this one and that one and the mixing of man, animals, and all type of little stuff. They had to stay in power because they understood this simple principle of sound, and the sound mind, the eternity, revolutions in your mind, counter revolutions, just different little things that help you understand how they are going to be doing this till this very day. 2024, March, what it is, 18th, 19th, whatever today is, everything that they knew back in the beginning of time when Adam first got to the earth and was expelled out of the Garden of Eden, and from Cain killing Abel and all of this stuff going on, this is the same stuff that we're dealing with right now. So I'm gonna just be breaking it down in many different ways, y'all, from math, philosophy, theosophy, religion, just many different ways, y'all, so we can get back to the proper understanding, stand up in law the correct way, be able to repent to God, and be able to really, y'all, change this whole plane of existence back to what it should be. Because this ain't it, y'all. I can't sit back each and every day understanding kids is being trafficked, hurt, mutilated, brutalized, ate up by cannibals. They sleeping with dead people, going into a transient, transmutated state in their brains going, man, chakra root going straight to their brain turning into the size of Mount Rushmore, family. That's why they on the Mount. Man, come on, man.
Do solemnly swear that I will faithfully execute the office of President of the United States and will, to the best of my ability.
Hey, what I feel to say, big bro, it will be the Episcopal Church, because I do believe Franklin Delano Roosevelt. I'm getting over to the Czech Republic because I realized in Tabor and Czechoslovakia, that's the nation of the Slavs, you know, the home of the Slavs. So I'm understanding about the Hussites and the Hittites. And so now I'm starting to understand the Roman Catholic Church representation and all of this. And so when I look at the Pope of 1914, who said he was trying to prevent, you know, the World War from happening, and then I look at the Pope of 1933, and I realize these is one and the same people. What I do believe is some Benjamin Button stuff going on, to where, as I'm learning from the professor, as you go into more demonology and into nasty things, you probably will regress in the mental state to where if you looked at like a normal human being at your 30s and 40s, well, as you got older, you would probably look less and less like your humanly self. So say if the Pope from 1914, I forgot his name, and then the Pope of 1933, 35, up until that point in the 30s, to the I think the early 40s, that would have been him in his early 30s, you know, late 20s, early 30s, 40s. And then as he continued to practice sleeping with kids, you know what I'm saying, and doing sick and vile things, well, he would start regressing and start looking more and more slow. But the main way is they do it with Hollywood now. They would take his older photos and put it at the beginning of time to say, okay, this is one person in 1914, and then it was a whole nother person in 1930, but you realize it was the same person, family. They just was able to spend time around. That's counter revolutionary right there already. So they they really unsubscribing from God. So I gotta remember the word that be in them from another little show I'll be learning from. They were able to say the word, but it's what they do at the Black Rock. So the Black Stone, what it's called, the cobblestone that's over there with Solomon at. The reason why they really circle around it, because I now realize it was the Ark of the Covenant. And once they got the Ark of the Covenant, they were able to build whatever they had. This was the main thing about the Great War. They were looking for hidden technology. It didn't matter if it was the Anunnaki type of technology or it was for the Afro-American Hebrews and the Jews. We wanted the Ark of the Covenant. So I realized what the will is really about now. It is the will of time, because once you get this Ark of the Covenant and you are able to get into it, you would have understood everything that from David, Solomon, you know, all the greats of the Bible who were the Jews. You know, it was great kings and queens of different nations, but at the beginning of the day, it's always been told, and everybody know from the beginning of when God put Adam here up until this point, the Jews and the Hebrews and the Israelites had it always the best. You know what I'm saying? And so no matter what Hammurabi, who it is, Harambe, let me say it like this: the Mesopotamian kings, no matter how great they were never greater than Israel the Jews and Hebrews, and none of the biblical stories were taken from those Mesopotamian times. Now they are used in the biblical text, but it's to say that they would love to say that those Mesopotamian gods were really what's true, and the Bible holds no validity. It's only a side, book, somebody's side project. But in hindsight, we know what it really is true. And so I just thank God that He waking up everybody around the world and around the nation to hear this, because I'm being shadow banned right now. They tried to hack my account. They deleted pictures and videos manually through the AI. So if you watch this movie called Eagle Eye, it's definitely on us. So the AI in here right now mixed in with it's probably 1 million bots of people. When I say 1 million, it's people in every nation that has and not every let me not even say it's corporations in every nation that houses facilities, living facilities where you're able to stay in a cubicle and be fed. Is all they got, the cafeterias, probably restrooms, your shower facility, but they're gonna give you the computers. They're gonna give you some J's, a chain, all type. They're gonna give you a little debit card and some fun bucks to have fun in their countries, to be able to monitor what's going on in our country via the computer, and to be able to always be a bot and just push different material, come up and teach different things. It don't matter what country you're in. It's all about the media. Medici, Warburg, Rothschild, old family empires from the 1,000-year era, which is the Babylonian era, which is going to come from again with those magi and the musicians, because everything comes from the fallen angel, which is Christ in his prior state before becoming Jesus Christ. He was the angel first. He was first God's son, but he was the one of light, music, math, and science. So when you understand that's what really governs our world and everything, then you can see how everybody has bit off of that in many of ways. You can understand the Caduceus more. You can understand the Hermes Trismegistus even more. Tablets of Thoth. You got your Hermes, you got your Mercury, all bringing knowledge of different little sects of knowledge, but it's to say it's all really just biblical knowledge at the beginning of the day, the knowledge of God. And so that's why even our best scientists and most world-renowned, I would say, whatever they were, astrophysicists or scientists or neuroscientists and physics, whatever you want to call them, they all understand that they gotta know who God is, still deny him if they want to in their hearts and their mind, but they have to understand God to the point to say, okay, God is, again, like what we now understand, just like Professor Brigham and everybody else, God is outside in the universe and in the world as far as you can see and stretch out, and he's also within us as far and as deep as you can go in. And each and every material that's on this earth and in this universe got a piece of God in it, and we are a piece of God. So it's like, it's just at this time, it's like, how can it be so undeniable? And that's why I'm gonna do my math show later, to where it's like, when the proof is this undeniable, y'all, we got to know that it's this much sin and death and confusion and whether you want to call it Illuminati, Rosicrucian, your Golden Dawn, your Skulls and Bones, your Pan-Hellenistic Council. So if you're seeking the organizations, your Divine Nine, whatever brother or sisterhood you want to call it, is to say that nastiness and disgustingness, evilness and vile things are going on around the world. 7.8 billion people out here, y'all. So just understand, how many people do y'all think could be serving Satan right now and just having a good time, just being citizens and seeing strippers and throwing money in clubs and popping bottles, smoking hookah lounge. The same thing they doing in America, bro. They do it 1,000 times more in those foreign countries. Belgium, India, man, they got strip club, man, so demonic. And there's 20 of them. The whole city got demonic strip clubs and party clubs, and that's what they do all night. They get smoked, they drink, they get high, they get their money off the backs of Afro Americans, off my forefather, St. Thomas, off him being dead and his forefathers being dead and buried up under the Vatican and buried in these mounds, buried in these coliseums. So because my people are dead and made black in law, they having fun all around the world, dancing around on the bodies of the saints and the martyrs of God, and calling themselves Jews and Hebrews and unorthodox and atheist, whatever they want to say, is to say it's all against God. And so, man, let's listen to they OG, who started it off real light and right. I don't know if it happened really in 1917, 1900, 1865, 1776, but I do know for sure 1933 set it off alarmingly for sure.
Preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States. So help me God. President Hoover, Mr. Chief Justice, my friends, this is a day of national consecration. And I am certain that on this day, my fellow Americans expect that on my induction into the presidency, I will address them with a candor and a decision which the present situation of our people impels. This is preeminently the time to speak the truth, the whole truth, frankly and boldly. Nor need we shrink.
Hold on 1 second, child. Let me show this one time. All right, I'm back. Let's get to it.
From honestly facing conditions in our country today, this great nation will endure as it has endured, will revive and will prosper. So first of all, let me assert my firm
Now look,
belief.
y'all. Okay, before we keep rolling, now understand I got my Leo Cohen and DJ Vlad over there. One representing the Palestinian side, one representing the Hasidic Byzantium Jew side. You know what I'm saying? Really one in the same, three in the same, all of them the same. But y'all see these hats right here? Understand this will be your Zarconis, your who it is, Mr. Penguin off of Batman. These are your crime mafia mob bosses, y'all. So understand that what this is really saying and really going to. That's why when it comes down to the Nipsey Hussle stuff, you know, I understand how to tie it all the way back to the Russian Ukrainian Jews, and understanding that the Czechoslovakian, you know what I'm saying, Ukraine, I just said Ukraine, the people of that whole nation of Euro-Asia really are under the Pope, of course. Everybody under the Pope. Let me say this and try to say it the correct way. They are all down with the mob, and it's a mafia style mob type of mentality through the whole world. And so that's why you hear no evil, speak no evil, even though you might see the evil the whole time. You know what I'm saying? So what they did to Nipsey Hussle, like I say, 7.8 billion people in the world, is so many people that ate off of Nipsey Hussle and what he was able to provide and bring mentally and spiritually to the people. So they would pass that around and act like they just did a marathon thing for Nipsey. What about 2 days ago, talking about everybody still remember how many people still being able to eat off Nipsey just by posting it. How many people go like that? Just the feeling, look, just on a dopamine level to say people could get 10 likes to say, oh, I reposted Nipsey. That made me feel good. But like somebody was just speaking about, when it comes to the specter or the spectacle, is to say, do they really care about Nipsey? Do they really care if he died or not? Nah, you know what I'm saying? So again, you know, these are your mob bosses, family. These are your people who will cross you up and wet you up, you know what I'm saying? Set you up and get you up out of here for a light and right price, or for a minimum fee, you know what I'm saying, of nothing but to do it, you know what I'm saying? Because they true to it, man. Demonic, little demon babies, for sure.
That the only thing we have to fear is fear
Little demons, for
itself.
sure, y'all.
Nameless, unreasoning, unjustified terror, which paralyzes needed effort to convert retreat into advance. In every dark hour of our national life, a leadership of frankness and of vigor has met with that understanding and support of the people themselves, which is essential to victory. And I am convinced that you will again give that support to leadership in these critical days. In such a spirit on my part and on yours, we face our common difficulties. They concern, thank God, only material things. Values have shrunk to fantastic levels. Taxes have risen. Our ability to pay has fallen. Government of all kinds is faced by serious curtailment of income. The means of exchange are frozen in the currents of trade. The withered leaves of industrial enterprise lie on every side. Farmers find no market for their produce, and the savings of many years in thousands of families are gone. More important, a host of unemployed citizens face the grim problem of existence, and an equally great number toil with little return. Only a foolish optimist can deny the dark realities of the moment. And yet our distress comes from no failure of substance. We are stricken by no plague of locusts. Compared with the perils which our forefathers conquered,
Now hear what he said now. Yeah, now what he said, the locusts. Listen to what the boy said now. Now, again, understand 1929, y'all, the stock market crash. They saying that you know, not only just in America, but they saying around the world, everybody poor right now, man. It's getting so bad. The economy is getting so drastically drained of funds. And they've been, man, hold on, man. They standing on top of the what is they, man, come on now. This look more like, what is this right here? They built up some stuff for sure, y'all. They built up some things. But this is what media is about right here. This is the Medici, Warburg, Rothschild empire in its finest right here. This is how you get your people to forever and a day. Because one thing I can say, I ain't seen now a Negro at this. So I don't know where the Afro-Americans at. We must be whooped on. Matter of fact, I don't even know where the black folks at. They must have did this and say, hey, niggers, you niggas who conspired with us, we need y'all to sit this one out right here. We need to make this look like white power. You hear me? So they must tell them, hey, sit this on the sideline. Marcus Garvey, Haile Selassie, all your little crews, man. A. Philip Randolph, all my little unionizers, the AFA, all my little people that came together in this brother and sisterhood of evil that ain't looking like the white man. Hey, even Asian man, hey, go sit down, friend. Indian man, go sit down, my friend. All y'all, white man, white power. That's what y'all kiss up to, man. Come on. Come on. But he said the locusts. Did y'all hear that? And who had to deal with locusts, y'all? When we think about the Bible and we think biblically, who had to deal? Ain't that the Pharaoh? When it come down to Noah and them coming out of the flood, I mean, not the flood, going through the Red Sea, family. Ain't they with Moses and escaping out of the Egyptian captivity? So y'all understand that if he said our forefathers who had to deal with those, because the plagues, y'all. So the plagues of Egypt, they had plagues of Egypt that happened. If he talking about the locusts now, y'all, and he said my forefather, does that mean he's the descendant of the Egypt? Let's go ahead and take us a little while back in time real quick. Because I need y'all to understand what time it is, family. So again, we had 65 to 6,800 years, family. We're almost up to about 7,000 years. And so that's why I'm tapping back into real history to make sure we keep a concise and consistent string of time from beginning to end, from Alpha to Omega. Do y'all hear what I'm saying? And so we can understand that God is the only one and will be the only one. You know what I'm saying? From the beginning and from the end. And so you ain't believing the God, the Father, then you really lacking and slacking, family. So let's get to this little history lesson so we can understand what time it is. When we start up at the goal, we bring it to the Babylonians, so that means Sumerian, Akkadian, Mesopotamian, Anunnaki, whatever belief system you want to stick under that little Taj cap, that little Magi, what they call it, a Pharyngean cap, whatever you want to stick under that little cap, family. Stick it up under there and know that it's coming down. When my Father get here and Jesus Christ get here, this right here is over and done. Lake of fire, family. All of this is to be tossed. So that means every little vein I did, any little thing you can think of how life shit can be, and it got duality of some BS mixed in it, is going down, family. So I don't care who you is, me, myself, my own. It's a lot of things I like. I like the anime. I like whatever it can be, family. The good things in life that has bad things built into it. No more, family. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like Professor teach, nothing that from a bad tree can bear good fruit. And a good tree cannot bear bad fruit, family. So anything that's mixed in the duality, it gotta go, family. Hold on, let me pull this up real quick. Run this down. So again, I keep pointing out every little because I didn't brought this video up, and I'm gonna continue to bring it up. The Medo-Persian Empire come right under the Babylonian. So understand when I get over there and I'm talking about the Medes and Hermes and Trismegistus, but how I go right back to the Babylonian, but I'm just gonna connect it to King Darius and how it comes down to when Herod, when King Herod was searching for Jesus, it was Magi then trying to use, whether they use ancient computers, they can use the mapping of the stars. So when you think what they call the analytical computer, it was the first analog, a computational device, an analog computer. So when you think about IBM and Bill Gates and them and how those big old computers, think about that being way back then, but in some type of different form. It could have looked totally different, but they had computers at the beginning of time when Adam was here. And so at the beginning of the day, they was able to do things then, because when you understand the most important thing about the Babylonian kings and queens, they like to build their cities over top of ley lines. So when you understand, and when you get there, when you look at a grid and you look at a city, you would understand that the city is built off simple math, geometry, simple science, cross, what they call it, compass and a square. And you would see that from pictographs and whatever you want to build, you would understand that I always start with a cross, not the cross that's like a T cross, but a plus sign cross. And from now, you can just really map out anything, y'all, because you need your 90-degree vectors. It's just different little stuff that I can explain in a deep way. But I'm gonna try to keep it simple right now, because we're learning history, not math and science right now. So we're gonna get to it. So again, like I've been telling y'all, we still living in a Roman Empire right now. We Romanesque everything. We like the patronage of the arts. I'm listening to young people right now getting sold out in different little contracts and different little things, just trying to be artists, not actual painters, not actual musicians or artists of it. Just to, they feel like just to even be a social worker is a certain type of art. They didn't put it in our minds that all of these occupations that can serve Satan are a certain type of art. So understand that when we go into patronage, and they're the oldest people who started these patronages, then you would understand that they go back to, again, these orders of like the Golden Dawn, whether it be the Skull and Bones or the Golden Fleece, the Order of the Golden Fleece, the Rosicrucians, but they are also magi. They are the alchemical, hermetical priests, matriarchal priests, and magicians and wizards and warlocks. So everything's connected over here to where no matter what I'm talking about, it's going to be a stringed conversation, y'all. So y'all always understand that you're gonna learn something over here that you heard over there, and you're gonna be able to put 2 and 2 together, and you're gonna be able to make 4, the tetrahedron. You're gonna be able to make you a diamond, the strongest shape, not only in just Earth or the world and the whole universe. The tetrahedron builds everything. Your atom, yo, everything is built off a tetrahedron type of shape, to say, well, your strongest materials. Let me say that everything is really built off the circle, y'all. So I can say that it's built off the circle and the cross. So, man, we're going to get to it a little deeper, though. Let's listen. So, again, y'all seen that clay and iron, y'all. So, again, I'm just going to bring it over to another video. Hope we get back into our history. And then we're going to tap into another little video. So, I got another 45 minutes to an hour with y'all. But we got to listen to what happened in 1933. So, again, if Mr. The Locust and my forefathers, let's go to him real quick, what he said about his forefathers and he locusts.
Because they believe, compared with we are stricken by no plague of locusts, compared with the perils which our forefathers conquered.
So again, when he's talking about his forefathers conquered the locusts, they saying he really trying to say they conquered God too and overcame, but really they losing, family. So because they were able to take over God's people and to be able to do this, then they feel like they are really triumphant. But really they lose, y'all. They lose, and they really got to take them as little snooze, because and an eternal snooze at that. You hear me? They going down, family. Going down, down, baby. Now let's listen to why these 1,000-year families are so important and why they control everything. So shout out to Tizo, shout out to Jade. I just read that Empire Records is owned by Tom Moshowitz, and Tom Moshowitz hooked up with Nipsey Hussle. So like I say again, I'm just gonna connect these Russian, Czechoslovakian, alien, space mountain rocket, what that is, Mount Rushmore head. Man, great. Head is so large, family. The head is so large on these folks, family. Do you hear what I'm saying? That if you fit a universe inside of it, family, you still would have room, family. You hear what I'm saying? You still would have room, family, to fit in a metaverse on side of that and another metaverse on side of that. Right? So you hear what I'm saying, y'all? That's why their brains is stuck down the rabbit hole of BS, family. Alice, come out of Neo, son. Wake up out of the dream world, man. Come on.
Jay-Z, this is what you waiting for. Waiting for. Jay-Z, this is what you been waiting for. Kim, this is what you been waiting for. All you niggas, look, let me tell you something. This is the way the world works. Period. Okay, be quiet for a second. For a second.
I love you, but okay.
No, you got it. Get it.
And now, ladies, that's why y'all need to take a seat back while these real men standing up. And if you want to stand up for God, then you need to really support a real man. So if you ain't hit that like, subscribe, or share, then you need to do it right now. Right now. Because Big Reek, I'm in here trying to keep it real, trying to heal and build, and trying to stand up in the field. You know what I'm talking about? And I'm out here, man, just trying to be on the front line for God and just trying to let it be known, man. It's that time, y'all. No reason to play with it. Us stay with it.
Sorry. God runs the world. Then under that,
you hear what he said? God, the Father runs the world, not just the devil, God, the Father, Jesus Christ under him. Spirit of truth, man, woman, child. Hey, Mr. Gillespie, you want a little something? Ego, brother. Primarily the practice of frequently using the word. Using the word I, hence a speaking of writing much of oneself, self-praise, self-condemnation. See, you self-condemning yourself, brother. You condemning yourself. You keep saying you want to be in your ego, bro. When God come with his judgment and condemnation, hey, bro, just say, hey, Father, I had to let the ego go. I did. Rico was not wrong, and he was a real one out there, Father. My bad. The active practice of magnifying oneself or making oneself of importance. That's why over here, y'all can come over here, pass this along very well, and understand that it ain't no ego, it's all Rico and just God before me and behind me with Jesus Christ strengthening me. Let's get it.
Thousand-year-old families, Medici. Under that, you have the Vatican, the Pope. Under that, you have the financial groups that control all your shit. BlackRock, Vanguard. After that, you have Putin. You have Trump. You have all this shit. And after that, you got what all this shit is. Entertainment. Hollywood.
Entertainment. Mind
Take
control.
that, run that back, run into schools.
He just broke it down.
Now, come on now. He definitely broke it down, y'all. We just gonna take it further every time, you know what I'm saying? Because we got to make sure we get to the nitty gritty and be able to break it down to the little itty bitties. Because the young kids need to know what's going on, man, so they don't get it wrong. We got to help them to grow up and be strong. So, ladies, understand right now, this in Italy. So when I'm talking about Czechoslovakia, it's right off the little island peninsula of Russia, and they hold Ukrainian down to their little kin folks in Slovenia and Slovenia and whatever you want to name it, the little Transylvanian little demons and aliens and little vampires and werewolves. Italy right next to it, y'all. So they are family members. So let's get to it. This how they feel about Afro-American women, and it's really representative because our women do try to keep us in bondage and enslave women. So we got to wake up and come out of that, y'all.
Statue of Liberty is a parade in Italy depicting a black woman as the Statue of Liberty, as the matriarch of the land. Everybody knows around the world who are the indigenous people of America. We know the truth now.
We sure do. Now, understand again, y'all, this go back to your marine spirits, making sure they try to make her a mermaid, trying to put her under the water, under the sea, chains, the iron, the clay. I believe what they said, iron and clay. I do believe. I keep forgetting, but I do believe it was iron and clay that chained her up. So, ladies and gentlemen, we got to stand up one day at a time, one step at a time. But ladies, you need to get with a real Adam that's trying to stand out there on the forefront against human trafficking, against usury, against the mental subjection and ideological subversion, social engineering, and indoctrination into hell and into duality. So I need my women and my ladies to stand up each and every day, get behind somebody who really trying to stand up for what's real and stand for what's right, for the right things and not just anything. So support that, man. It's your boy Rico up in here, man, just really trying to hold it down for the right things, y'all, and not just anything. So let's continue over here back to Franklin Delano Roosevelt and understand that the things he stand for is the wrong things, y'all. That Franklin Delano Roosevelt, if he is the great grandson of the Egyptians, you know what I'm saying? Because again, understand that leprosy is what came upon the earth. So it don't matter what color you is. If you are the great grandson of Esau, Enoch, Edomites, if you are the great grandchildren of Ham, Japheth, all the Amalekites, Amorites, Hittites, Hussites, Taborites, whoever you the great grandchildren of, if it's not Jacob, Adam, the lineage, good lineage of Adam, not Cain's lineage, but the 12 tribes, King David, not Solomon and Sheba, not Ishmael and Esau, you know what I'm saying? Jesus, the good people, y'all. If y'all are those, first of all, y'all need to stand up and help lead the people of all the other nations who are the children of the people who always been having to running to deny God, running to practice, man, spiritual divination and just, man, vain things and evil things when it comes down to a Greek, a Mesopotamian, a Egyptian pantheon of all type of madness, atheism, or whatever you can imagine, because they pray to MCDs. Our people right now in 2024, we got our kids praying to Spider-Man, Batman, these Yu Yu Hakusho, Naruto, you know, the animes, the cartoons, whether it's Sonic or your most friendly of cartoons, y'all. Y'all got y'all kids by way of Disney idolizing and putting these objects and these things on as a, what I want to say, on a pedestal. So y'all not even understanding, as little kids, y'all are already making them uphold things as gods, and even in their little own eyes. And y'all is being grown adults, whether you 25, 22, 18, 19, up into the old age of 68, 90, you know, 98. We still young because if Adam lived to be 1,000 years old, and we still young to say, even if you're 40, 50, 60, whatever. But it's to say that we ourselves are upholding and applauding and congratulating and calling different people brothers, sisters, uncles, daddy, and it's really people who would take us down, you know, people who would destroy not only themselves, but they will offer up their families up on the sacrificial plate of to Baal and Moloch, that they would worship to the Canaanite god. And so that's what they own right now, y'all. So we got to stand up, not one day at a time, not one step at a time, but almost every time, y'all. Do you hear me? We got to stand up every chance we get. And so let's get to it.
Because they believed and were not afraid, we have...
Man, hold on, family. Now look at the hats on these people, family. Now this looks like your army of little people right here. I ain't gonna lie to you, family. This looks like some little people, family. If the kids only standing 3 feet, 2 feet, a foot and a half shorter than the grown adults here. Because again, family, they all in the trees, family. They some tree climbing, monkey hopping, backboard diving. You hear me? That's why they call them wetbacks, family. It ain't just Hispanics, family. Hispanics are Italian. They are French, family. Caucasian, they all one, family. Whether they down in Africa and Ethiopia, family, they all are mariners and marine spirits and merchants and from those type of families, family. You hear what I'm saying? You got your harbor master, and then you got your postmaster, the people from the land, and then you got your creatures of the sea, family. Do you hear what I'm saying? And so at the beginning of the day, they are used to mountainous, cavish, dwelling type of nomadic type of living, y'all. So we go get to it.
Still much to be thankful for. Nature still offers her bounty, and human efforts have multiplied it.
So again, when it comes to Nimrod, let me slow that down. So they said nature still, that's why they, again, don't mind going against God, because Nimrod was a mighty hunter. So when you go back into the Bible and you understand that Nimrod was about the hunt, and he didn't really care about more per se keeping righteousness and justice in his kingdom. So he would just go out, hunt, devour, and end up falling down upon himself. But understand that Esau, if Esau and Jacob was brothers, and Jacob being more of the one who would be the civilizer, I believe in God. I want to stand up for the right things and not just anything while having a kingdom or having little to nothing. And Esau not being the same, he being like his forefather Cain, forefather Nimrod, forefather Solomon, you know what I'm saying? That he would take the things that he is blessed with and he would fumble them, you know what I'm saying? That he would create duality within himself to be able to serve vain things of this world, material, temporal things, and to go against God. So Esau will be, again, the forefather to and the descendant of Nimrod, but he's a forefather to Franklin Delano Roosevelt, the Harry Trumans, the even if you want to think about your Herschel Walkers and all your little people, don't matter if it's Jay Prince, whether they black, white, or this one, if they Cain, if they Japheth, if they Ham, if they Esau, Ishmael, they all are coming from the spirit of Satan and the split tongue, y'all. So that's why, again, when it comes to them just wanting to hunt. That's why a lot of people who like this system of things, all they care about is getting money. They want to. That's why money is the root of all evil, because you can be a hunter of the money. As long as you go get you some money, I'm a hustler. You know, I get up in the morning, I go get that money, man. Nobody gonna stop me from getting this money, man. I'm gonna live my life. But you ain't worried about the spiritual things, the ecclesiastical, the things that don't take the hunt. It takes you being able to slow down and study and research and be an empath. You know what I'm saying? You got to be able to study upon multiple things and bring it back to God. And so that's why a lot of y'all are tripping, because a lot of y'all got this hunter, no gatherer. Y'all not gathering the real things. Y'all just hunting up the BS. You know what I'm saying? Taking and gathering up that bush, bringing it on home into your brain, to your seat of the soul, into your temporal loom, as the professor like to say, right into your little pineal gland. You know what I'm saying? Saying it's coming from the mitochondrial DNA. You know what I'm saying? And taking y'all whole lifestyle and placing it under a matriarchal system of Satan and the matrix of, like, again, death and sin, y'all. So I'm saying words that might be over the people that's in my chat head, but just go and do your homework. Pull up a 1828 dictionary. Slow me down if you need to on 0.75 speed if I'm talking too fast. Or just pull up and, do your research on YouTube. Type in some of these words. Look at short videos that try to help break it down. Like I said, go to the internet, whether it's your Black Laws Dictionary, look at it in the Magna Carta, but try to get yourselves familiar with certain words and terms and understanding certain law, certain way things were happening right from the early 1800s, late 1800s, so the early 1900s too, and then a little bit leading up from like 1600s, and then I'm gonna bring y'all back before that from 1600s up until now. Y'all need to start getting yourselves familiar with that, because it's that time, y'all. That's the reason why we really losing. That's the reason why we ready to vote for Joe Biden. And then a lot of people were saying, well, even if Trump's Satan, well, we'll vote for Satan just because that's a better Satan than Joe Biden. But which in hindsight is to say Donald Trump did something that no man that I seen, ain't no black African, any kind of man that's melanated doing right now. I ain't seen no black man get up there and do what Trump has done, family. He done fought from 2016. Go back and look at this is an inauguration speech. Go back and look at Donald Trump's speech against Hillary Clinton, their first debate, family. Donald Trump is talking to her like a little girl of evil. First of all, he talking to her like a little child of Satan. For sure, y'all got to make a difference and understand that no matter what Trump was going through and what he did at that point in 2016, he decided that I'm going to work against the veil and the dominion and the whole, what's the word I'm looking for? The whole foundation that Satan has built this upon. So that's why Trump has went through what the Afro-American man has went through up to this day, to where he's been persecuted out there at a public forum and platform where he said, hey, y'all, I'm just trying to have a peace rally and talk about the injustices on January 6th. But he was put down just like a black man, not Martin Luther King. And when you understand that in Menelik, when you understand the Bible correctly and you understand about the Canaanite God, Martin Luther King, MLK, the king, which means the king, like I say, Menelik, which is Baal, the Moloch, and he sacrifices to the great fire, then you would understand why Martin Luther King led us into a burning fire. And then you go back to Haile Selassie, Frederick Douglass, Marcus Garvey. All of these people have sold us out. So any woman that y'all can think about is to say that, again, the Afro-American, the real Jew, the real Hebrew, the real Israel is waking up to realize it is not Israel that shall prevail. It is Israel, because God is real. Israel. So God is good, y'all, all the time. It's that time. But like I said, for the most part, man, just understand that these are the descendants of Canaanites, again, Amorites, Phoenicians. And so we're going to listen to them because right now, even Trump is fighting right now. He's going through every state, every city. Y'all support him, but support the ones who are standing up even further, because Trump not talking about this Anunnaki. He ain't talking about Franklin Dent. Probably in his private settings, he is his private conversations, because he know what it is, just like John F. Kennedy. John F. Kennedy spoke about this, but they killed him. And a lot of things was going on around John F. Kennedy time that he was, I'm so sick to his stomach with. A lot of stuff that they were trying to push up under him and through him, but he was sick to his stomach with it. And I thank God for him speaking out. So that's why I'm fighting for J.F. Kennedy, a real man of one of those fallen spirits of people who stood up and said, hey, man, this is what it is. Forget all what y'all talking about. We fighting against powers that be in hidden places and with dark and white faces. You hear what I'm saying? And so let's get to it.
Not afraid. We have still much to be thankful for. Nature still offers her bounty, and human efforts have multiplied it. Plenty is at our doorstep, but a generous use of it languishes in the very sight of the supply. I am prepared, under my constitutional duty, to recommend the measures that a stricken nation in the midst of a stricken world may require. These measures, or such other measures as the Congress may build out of its experience and wisdom, I shall seek within my constitutional authority to bring to speedy adoption. But in the event that the Congress shall fail to take one of these two courses, in the event that the national emergency is still critical.
Now here now, y'all, he talking about this national emergency, y'all. The national emergency. These are nationalists now. Nationalists, communists, socialists, Marxists, Democrats, Democrats. You hear me? Do y'all have Leninists? They're Nietzsche's. They love Nietzsche. They love it all, y'all. They're going down, family. They love everything that you can name for the price of fortune and fame, and from whence they came, which is the pits of hell, family. So it don't matter what color they is, family. If they against God, y'all going down.
I shall not evade the clear course of duty that will then confront me. I shall ask the Congress for the one remaining instrument to meet the crisis. Broad executive power.
Huh? That boy say he want to be the one instrument, family. I'm trying to use my instrument right now. I'm blowing my not my horn, family. I'm blowing the trumpet all year long, and I'm blowing strong, family. You hear me? Don't bend, don't fold. Because what they did, family, and what he said in 1933, we're finna get to it in just a couple of minutes. I appreciate everybody that slid through, hit that like, hit that subscribe, you hit that share. You know what I'm saying? Everybody that's following through might have hit that cash app. But right now, family, I gotta always not just set the mood. You hear me? I gotta lay down the foundation, because from here on, this is the first video of my history of what it took for Rico to get here and understand what's really going on, and what I'm going to continuously fight for until I lay my head to rest, and then the great resurrection happen, or until the great resurrection happen right now while I'm still living and breathing, and we meeting heaven on earth until that great day that heaven on earth is coming and I'm waking up out of my slumber. You know what I'm saying? And so either which way, I'm not about to play, but I am going to stay on this mission and doing God's will. So let's get to it. Executive powers. We got an executive, a judicial, and a legislative branch, correct? So we're going to learn about the law. We're going to be geopolitical scientists of the highest stature when we finish over on the Rico show. Do you hear me? Shout out Kevro. Shout out Kevin Gillespie, the great grandson of King George Gillespie. George Washington Gillespie, and I appreciate you, brother. I'm able to take your algorithm, take God's algorithm, and take my algorithm, mix it all together, take it with Christ, bro, and do my own. As a matter of fact, I just made a tetrahedron. I got the Gillespie, I got Christ, I got God, and I got myself, family, my lineage. St. Thomas in the building. Rico is for the people. Let's get it.
To wage a war against the emergency.
You hold on, you want to wage a what? He want to rage, not rage. Sound like he said rage. Sound like chaos, Professor. Sound like chaos out of order out of chaos to me, Professor. Hold on, run it back.
Wage a war against the executive power to meet the crisis. Broad executive power to wage a war against the emergency, as great as the power that would be given to me if we were in fact invaded by a foreign foe.
So again, if this is a national emergency, and you said you need the emergency powers to be enacted, if you were in fact being invaded by a foreign foe, but you're not being invaded by a foreign foe, but you need to act like you're being invaded by a foreign foe. My people, have we become prisoners of war? Are we in fact in Babylon and in Egypt? Deuteronomy 28. The Afro-American, the Jews, the real Hebrews, the real Israel, are we not been taken captive in 13th, 14th, dead amendment citizens, amended into the Constitution, into this contract to be citizens under a dead corporation, under the United Nations, United States, under the Roman Catholic Church? Do y'all hear what I'm saying? The biggest corporation that runs all corporations. Have we in fact been placed in indentured servitude, chattel property, chattel slaves, to serve out for lifetimes and lifetimes and eons, to give and be owned through birth certificates and social security numbers, to be given away on to bonds, you hear me? Bonds, stocks and bonds to be sold on the NASDAQ, the stock market, you hear me? To be sold away on your cryptocurrency, to be kept in crypts under the Roman Catholic Church and in vaults, you hear me? Have Afro-Americans, the black, real, true Jews, the Hebrews, who has a specific phenotype, genotype, a specific haplogroup, have they really been gave over as prisoners of war to the Antichrist and by way of birth certificates? You hear me? By way of contracts, commercial law, commerce. Hermes being the god of commerce and trade. You hear me? Commercial law, maritime, the Pope, his Dagon hat. You hear me? The cap of Mitra. So again, they go back to Mirth and Mithras. So understand that the Pope, you hear me, is the god of the Magi family. He is the representative of the Magi, the majestic priesthood. Do you hear what I'm saying? Rico was on him. I understand the movie The Mummy now. Even more, everything just make more sense. Y'all, Book of the Dead, the Book of Thoth, the Tree of Life, Kabbalah, is all coming down right before Rico. It's all being laid right before my feet. And I'm just going to step right on y'all. I'm not only walking on water, family, but I am, in fact, walking on up into space, family. Do you hear what I'm saying? Rico is definitely ascending, not transcending. I am ascending to the Father. Do you know what I'm saying? Not descending into the pits of hell, family, but I am, in fact, taking off, family. Take off. Let's get it. This boy say he foreign powers. Let's run that back a little bit, y'all. I mean, he won't wage war against emergency that is almost foreign, but is really domestic.
Great as the power that would be executive power to wage a war against the emergency, as great as the power that would be given to me if we were in fact invaded by a foreign foe. For the trust reposed in me, I will return the courage and the devotion that befit the time. I can do no less.
We'll get back to him. Let's switch over because I want to get right here the way he said it over here, though. You hear me? Hold on 1 second. Yeah, now let's listen to him over here because it's very important what he said at this last part. And then we go listen to 5 minutes of some Louisiana maneuvers. And then we go, hold on, let me see. Yeah, that's right here. Hold on. Hold on, y'all. I gotta get back. Hold on, wait. Let me start that right and look for. Okay, I think it's right here. We go listen. Now here, listen. Now when we run this back tomorrow, understand that he talking in code. He just said, first of all, it's built on a sacred trust. Understand what sacred means, and that's why hallowed be thy name. And man, just understand what holy really means, and just different things. But understanding that for the most part, y'all, as he's talking, he really saying that they can't survive without them. And so as he's saying them, he really talking about the emergency that he ready to whoop down on, but saying that we have to take control of them. For us to be able to survive around the world, we must take control of the trust and this emergency, and be able to put it and subdue it for us to be able to become white in America. Hold on, wait, family. But I'm missing something right here. Hold on. He said, hold on. I'm missing something, family. I need to hear that. Cause I need y'all to hear something real quick. My bad. Y'all, I think I had it on 17. Hold on, y'all. I had it, y'all. We're gonna have to find. Look, I ain't gonna. We're gonna have to find it because what he said, y'all, was he was tired. He was they was tired of observing the ceremonies of God and different things that were upheld in our country. And because they were tired of doing it, there was another reason why they went against the trust of God. So that's why when you see in the courts that say, "In God we trust," and different things of that nature, they went against it. So we're gonna bring it up next show when I find it. I was hoping to bring it in right here and bring it on into it, but I lost the place and I forgot where he said it, but I do got the video and I got where he brought it in from. And also we go touching more of the Louisiana maneuvers. What I actually do want to get into in these last 40 minutes is a little bit of what took place in 1933 and actually bring that up. And hold on one second. And let's talk about real law, a little bit of injustice, crimes against humanity, treason of the highest nature would cause people to continuously to be in human trafficking and do things that that are rooted in the trafficking of people, illusions, grand delusions, a crafty counsel, Satanism, paganism, demonology, just all types of, like I say, horrible things, putting enmity between men and women, women and the children, men and the children, men and themselves, women and themselves, children and themselves, causing confusion and the confinement, and it was all built off of the hijacking of not only a people's name, not only a people's land, but a people's relationship with the one true living God, people's inheritance, their pension, their inventions, their patents, everything that these people had was given to the world, and then everybody threw their names on it. No matter if it's Nabisco, this up until this day, y'all, they didn't reinvented it a million different ways, but it all comes back from God, this Ark of the Covenant, and they want to give it to Anunnaki and Neil and them, but it really all came from God and Adam. Everything first came to Adam, how to farm, how to do this one, how to do that one. So we're gonna get into that over that, ladies, when we're reading over. And gentlemen, when I am talking about the getting into the Bible and a couple of apocryphas and extra scripture, but definitely on my ladies' channel too, because I know the ladies love to read. They love a good audio book, but they love too though when somebody's bringing great information in a real read form and expounding on it and breaking down the information in a very depicted way and having a sound mind while doing it. So, ladies, y'all support that. Get over there. I got my ladies edition running every Wednesday, so we gonna be turning that up for the rest of the year, all year long, every week. So y'all tune in with me. Support the real, not the fake and the phony. And shoot, let's get to it, man. We're gonna listen to our good man, Dr. Scroder. Dr. Scroder. And we're gonna let him. And we're not gonna be able to finish this. We're definitely gonna bring it in a little further. And to the next episode. This is our history episode, and this is what we're starting off with. We're starting off with the Louisiana maneuvers. We're gonna look at some world foul footage. We're gonna bring it into law. We're gonna bring it into little history, definitely some math and science. So we're gonna bring in Einstein, Tesla, and them. And so, like I say, each one of my channels is really gonna talk about some of the same things, just in different viewpoints, different observation points, but all aligned with God the Father, Jesus Christ, and Rico being able to bring it as a true Jew, a true Hebrew, a true Israelite, and a true person that's under the subject and up under the enslavement of the U.S. government, the United Nations, and the Roman Catholic Church by way of citizenship, birth certificate, and Social Security numbers that I just really don't care to use no more. Yeah, I don't care to really sign maritime commercial contracts anymore. I just want to serve God and do the right things, man. And like Professor say, don't do bad things, y'all. You hear me? We're not perfect, but just don't do bad things, y'all. It ain't about what you do. It's about how you do it. And then guess what? Certain things just don't need to be done. Certain things just don't need to be done. You hear me? Stand for the right things. Or you'll fall for anything. Let's get it. Hit that cash app, money style, R-I-S. I mean R-I-C-O-S. G-O-L-D-1. Because God is the only one. Yes, sir. And his son is the only one. Yes, sir. Amen. Amen. Get to it.
I'm sure as you have watched the news forecast in the last month or two, and probably even in the last several years, you probably have asked yourself many a time, why is it so difficult to have an understanding of what they are explaining on the news?
Man, look at the ears on that boy, man. Hey, man. One thing I can say, it's good men out here, but they hail from them mountains, family, of elves, mages, magi, little little Transylvania, bats, vampire. Look, family. Little werewolf, look, family. Monkeys and rat, they done mixed with them all, y'all. And now we just looking at their grandchildren, now realizing that we have all inherited lies from 1994 to 1964 to 1924 up to 2024. In 1904, we have all been caught up in a grand delusion. And it's time to wake up, y'all, and fight for the right things and not just let anything take over the society and continue to run our world, y'all. The new world order is almost at its end. Amen.
And then in the last few weeks, you probably have seen on your newscast where our government has kept secrets and hidden documents from all of us. For instance, over 204 atomic tests we were never told about. Thousands of Americans receive radiation, but not with their consent. People was giving LSD shots without their consent.
Come on now, Professor. Now, Professor is breaking that down over there right now. Go shout out Professor Gill. Shout out B from Texas. Hey, B, I ain't gonna lie, bro. When I bring your head up on this camera, bro, I ain't gonna lie, bro. Your head is definitely looking like a Ninja Turtle, bro. You and the Professor. Y'all got some little jelly bean, round egg. I'm talking about family. What's going on, family? Y'all head look like the back of a nigga heel, family. Do you hear what I'm saying? Y'all little heads, family. I'm talking about a dozen. Y'all, you hear me? Y'all heads is about a dozen, family. I see a lot of them little eggs, but at the beginning of the day, B from Texas, big brother. You are helping the Professor teach what you teach over there, and ain't nothing wrong with it. But brother, when you got on that camera that day, brother, I said, is that if that ain't Michelangelo, Raphael, Leonardo, and I ain't talking about DiCaprio. I'm talking about get the piece of Donatello, man, not Master Roshi, Master Splinter. We got us a winner, family. He has and can be the Halloween, the Halloween 2024. Ninja Turtle of the year. B from Texas, come here. Hey, Professor Gillespie. Hey, man. Hey, just leave it alone, big bro. Leave your ego alone. And you ain't gotta leave Rico alone. You can keep doing what you're doing. I don't care. I'm gonna keep trolling y'all. But Professor, one thing I can say, big bro, is this what over here, what I'm talking about, and this information that I'm bringing, and the way I'm relaying it to the people, I'm doing it in my own way. You hear me? Blessed by God through Jesus Christ, picking up my cross, figuring out the right and correct ways things should be done. And you know how that should be done, big brother? Let me tell you. Let me show you this. Because I don't think you got it, big bro. I think you still, You working on your ego, and I can understand because look, bro, when y'all, man, your head kind of look like that professor, but not all the way. So that's why you want to let your ego go before it get there. B, I don't know. B head do look like this though. That's why I say B. I don't think B all the way Afro man. B, you might be Afro American, but bruh, you got a nose on you too, family. You got a nose and you got a head on you. B from Texas. And one thing I can say, me being from Texas, bruh, from Houston to Dallas to San Antonio, Austin, down to the Bo Diggity and through Louisiana, all that. Hey, bruh, one thing I can say is a lot of you foreigners down in the South, bro, they will claim and cling on to Jacob. Well, they would claim and cling on to Jacob, but just cling on to Jesus Christ, family. Just hold on to Jesus and God, family. You might not be Jacob. You might not be the real Israel, but you can be grafted into the kingdom, man. And if you kiss Mr. Professor behind enough, you definitely sound like you're going to make it, man. You ain't got to kiss the Oros Boros of the devil, but it sounds like if y'all kiss Professor ass over there enough, all y'all in the chat, Shiva, Forest Glory, I don't know who all over there that like kissing Professor. He teaching some great information now, y'all. He relaying and laying some things, but man, I see a chat full of ass kisses over there, y'all. Hey, and then look, y'all, look. Imagine that this is the professor. Now it might be a not. You can remove the devil. You can probably put Christ in them of it. You know what I'm saying? Because he do believe in God, but you got to take you a big helping. You got to take you a big old helping of ego and stick it right down. Hold on, man. So that's what's happening. I figured that happened. I knew that. Something. So when I add new stuff. Yeah. So I can't even get to it right now, y'all. I can't even get to it. You know why? You know why I can't get to it, y'all? I lied. Hold on. Trust. Yeah, we're gonna go right to it, y'all. I ain't playing with it. Us staying with it. 1828 dictionary. Mm-hmm. Come here, professor. You need trust, confidence, a reliance or resting of the mind on integrity, veracity, justice, friendship, or other sound principle of another person. He that putteth his trust in the Lord shall be safe. The fear of man bringeth a snare, but whosoever put his trust in the Lord shall be safe. So look, y'all ain't got to fear me. Y'all ain't got to fear Mr. Gillespie. Who y'all should be fearing is God, not even Jesus Christ. Excuse my tune. Y'all need to fear God, family. He or that which is the ground of confidence. O Lord, God, thou art my trust from my youth. In thee, O Lord, I do put my trust. Let me never be put to confusion. You hear me? Psalm 71:1. Never let me be put to confusion, Lord. Now let's go over here to ego. Ego. You an egoist, professor. You got the egoity going on. You egotistic. Sad. Egotism, primarily the practice of too frequently using the word I, hence a speaking of writing much of oneself. Self-praise put you in a haze. Professor might put you in a daze. But you know what? Rico gon' say it's all. Self-condemnation is the act of practicing, magnifying oneself or making oneself of importance. A deplorable egotism of character. You hear me? You don't want to be deplorable, family. You don't want to have egotism, family. Let it go, family. Let it go. Let it go, family. Let's get back over here to this real stuff we over here learning though.
We use mustard gas upon our own without their consent. We use mustard gas, LSD, receive radiation, but not with their consent. People was giving LSD shots without their consent. We use mustard gas upon our own citizens without their consent. You say, is this America? Could this happen in America? It did, folks. There is another great document that has been kept a secret from the American people. On March the 9th, 1994, it has been kept a secret for 61 years.
You hear that?
You say, what could this be? It is the secret that's going to be unfolded by Dr. Eugene Schroeder. What else should we take a look at today? Why has America lost its way? I'm sure you've heard it over and over. Is our government out of control? I think we can answer that question. Is it out of control morally? By this Bible, it is.
By this, what did he say?
Is it out of
He
control
say by this
financially?
what? He say by this Bible it is, correct. So look, y'all, by the laws of the Bible and the laws of God, Levitical and Mosaic, America, the United Nations, and the whole world is out of order, and they are outside the law of God. So we are in fact upholding Satan's kingdom, y'all.
I think we can answer that question. Is it out of control morally? By this Bible, it is. Is it out of control financially? If we can believe our public elected officials, they say we now owe over $4.5 trillion. We have went from the world's richest nation to the world's greatest debtor nation. Why? Have we lost our way? Has there been a criminal act committed? By the law dictionary, there has.
What? He say by what dictionary? The law dictionary. It's time to get in our law books, y'all. 1828, Magna Carta, Black Laws Dictionary. Getting your Aaron's Roy. Shout out King Gillespie, Minister George Gillespie of the Scotland Church. I don't believe it was Edinburgh, but he was definitely of Scotland though. So y'all get that, man. We got to get in our law books, y'all. We got to learn what's going on, man, because we can't let these, man. Come on now, we can't let them beat on us, y'all. Come on now, y'all. All this Gnostic knowledge, this BS trash right here, trash, y'all. We can't let this get us, y'all. Stand up, man. Stand up. You hip? Stand up. We're going to get to it, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get to it.
Can we prove this? Do we need to prove this?
Yes, we do.
Or do we need to prove it to ourselves? At this time, I would like to introduce to you a great American in my eyesight, my neighbor of a lifetime, a friend of America, a friend to all, and one who can explain in depth every government slide. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Eugene Schroeder.
Thank you. The study we're going to do today is a study of war and emergency powers. The documents we will be going through are all government documents.
Now, y'all heard what he said. We're going to be going through war and emergency powers. The war in America, the war on drugs, the Negro problem has not stopped yet, y'all. So they had a Negro problem. They had to say, what can we do with Negroes? And now to this one back in the early 1900s. Hey, y'all, let's learn. Now, I ain't talking about just no any kind of black, the American Jews, the Hebrews, the Israelites.
That these are not things we're going to say. We're simply going to review what the government has had to say about this subject. So as we go through this review, it is not to say that we agree with the principles that are being proposed, but to understand we will use these documents to show where the government claims its authorities. And let's begin the study with a document that comes from a well-renowned political author, Schweitzer. And in his book, Constitutional Development, the first paragraph of the introduction says, "We may well wonder, in view of the precedents now established," said Charles E. Hughes in 1920, "whether constitutional government as heretofore maintained in this republic could survive another great war, even victoriously waged." Now, what could our Supreme Court Justice, Mr. Hughes, be talking about at this point? He's saying that in view of the precedents now established, that if this country fights another great war, that we could lose our constitutional republic.
Now, again, y'all, it was more than a constitutional republic. They made it a constitutional republic after the first Great War, and they took Afro-Americans out of being under a monarch, from church and state being together in the kingdom of heaven on earth a little bit, but it wasn't a real heaven on earth to come that we fit to receive now. But it was a glimpse of it. You know what I'm saying? So understand that King George Gillespie, Mr. Kevin Gillespie, forefather, he would have been the king over that nation at that time. And we were called Jews, Hebrews, and Israelites. And we were the ones who, again, were civilizers. We were the engineers. We were your scientists, your mathematicians, your best cooks, your best orators, your best musicians. Man, we had it all going, man. Afro-Americans had it a lot going. Royal Victorians and Virginians taken down and made very low, y'all. Made very low.
Even if we win the war. Now that's hard to understand, that if we fought a war and won it, that we could end up losing our Constitution. But he goes ahead and says that the conflict known as the World War has ended, as far as military hostilities were concerned, but was not yet officially terminated. Most of the war statutes were still in effect, and many of the emergency organizations were still in operation. From that, let's go to operation.
Run that back. What he
many
said?
of the emergency organizations were still in effect.
Nah. They still in effect to this day, y'all. Now, this back when he brought this up. And when he brought this up, we'll look back on it when we get to it. But look, y'all. The war powers are still in effect. Emergency. Understand, Afghan war is the Vietnam, the Cold War. It was the war on drugs, like I say again, the war on disease, the war on humanitarian, the war on Russia, the war on Ukraine, the Chinese war. America been participating in wars since the takeover, and not only have they been participating in war overseas, participating in wars at home. So it can be wars on human trafficking, when all this could have been solved a long time ago. It's enough money and resources to where all these wars could have ended by them just saying, hey, Father God, we sorry. We shouldn't have been going against you this whole time. That's what it really could have ended the war. But still, though, it's enough resources, y'all, to where good people really could have came together a long time ago and ended all this madness around the world. Let's keep it real.
Many of the emergency organizations were still in operation. From that, let's go to an Exhibit 9 from 1933. And this is Congressman Beck reading in the Congressional Record. And Congressman Beck says, I think of all the damnable heresies that have ever been suggested in connection with the Constitution, the doctrine of emergency is the worst. It means that when Congress declares an emergency, there is no Constitution. This means it's death. It is the very doctrine.
You hear that? That means it's dead, family. What they say, prima facie. Hey, man, look, de facto, family. So, in fact, if the Constitution was real and the federal contract was real, when they enact war power, so y'all understand why Joe Biden walked his little demon AI robot head in the front office, in the Oval Office, and signed all of those declarations and what they call, he signed all of those, what is they call, family? Not acts, which they are, some of them do turn into acts. Orders. Not federal orders, presidential orders. It's another word for them too, though, but they was presidential orders. I'm gonna remember the word. I just was thinking about him earlier. But he went in there and he signed. That was like the bill to Ukraine. That was like how we got the $2,000 stimulus check. So all that money that went to Ukraine and stuff like that, that was him coming in and using broad emergency war powers in order to write all of that into power, because it was the war on COVID-19 and really another war on Afro-Americans again. So, man, look here, y'all. They bad to the bone. They wrong for that, man. Yeah, I think it is presidential orders, though, but let's get back to it.
That the German chancellor is invoking today in the dying hour.
The what, chancellor?
Declares an emergency. There is no Constitution. This means it's death.
So if the German chancellor
doing it, that the German chancellor is invoking today in the dying hours of.
So if the Germans doing it and the Americans doing it, and then the Americans look like the Germans and the Germans look like the Americans, really is Germany doing it? Is Russia doing it? Is China doing it? Is Rome doing it? Hell yes, they are. Come on now, y'all. We got to take our country back, y'all. Y'all tripping. Y'all letting all these people come in from Haiti right now. Them people been practicing witchcraft. They've been human trafficking kids through the organizations and foundations founded by the Rothschilds and the music groups, man, and Hollywood, man. No.
The parliamentary body of the German Republic. namely that because of an emergency, it should grant to the German Chancellor absolute power to pass any law, even though
Pass any law, y'all. That's tyrant. That is a more than an oligarchy. That is a what they call that? Tyrant. I'm trying to think of what it's called. It is a anarchy at its finest. But it's also another word. Let me think about
that law contradicts the Constitution of the German Republic. Chancellor
I think it's a totalitarian government. Total control up top, family.
Hitler is at least frank about it. We pay the Constitution lip service, but the result is the same. So here we see Congressman Beck bringing up some of the same principle, that once an emergency is declared, there is no Constitution, that the Constitution is suspended. Relating back to the same thing that Chief Justice Charles Hughes talked about in 1920, that if we fight a war, we could lose our Constitution, even if we won the war. Congressman Beck goes ahead and says, but the Constitution of the United States, as a restraining influence in keeping the United States government within the carefully prescribed channels of power, is morbid, if not dead. We are witnessing its death agonies. For when this bill becomes a law, if unhappily it becomes a law, there is no longer any workable Constitution to keep the federal government within the limits of its constitutional power.
So they said if that becomes law, if the people off in the back end who up to no good slide this in, after this, there will be no more America as we know it yesterday. Because the dang shit ain't the America yesterday that they know today. And it wasn't the America they knew then, what it was before the Afro-Americans and everybody was destroyed. So even I think the America that they was creating right then in 1933, whether they had a little few years of we just finished whooping the Afro-Americans, and now we got to put them in another great grand delusion. So this why it went from 40, 50 years, maybe 100 years of good times, and then it was cut short to say, hey, we got to go into another war because we got to put them back to sleep again before they wake up. A Jubilee year coming up. So, you know, another thing when you know about Jubilee and Jubilee years and how the Afro-Americans are supposed to get, if we was made black, dead in law, minors, lost at sea, and our trustees said, hey, well, we had to create this American government and hold the God's trust and y'all trust because y'all, you know, weren't ready for it. Y'all was asleep. Y'all didn't know about law. You know, y'all didn't know what was going on. We didn't know where y'all were. We finally found y'all. And now we supposed to be telling y'all about all of this. We supposed to be teaching y'all and showing y'all how to be able to be competent enough to where y'all can stand for yourselves under God and control back y'all nation, y'all communities, y'all schools, y'all hospitals. But no, they want to keep us subservient up under the government. They want to keep us minors, wards of the state, and the American, Roman, Russian, Japanese, African government of BS, family. And that is no more, family. We don't want to be in it no more. We want to follow the path of God, the circle of life, follow behind Christ, family. And so again, it's in the law that we must understand how we feel in history and understand that in history, because we feel they were able to hide the warfare, they were able to hide the genocide and the Holocaust of the people by calling us black in law, getting us to vote, Martin Luther King, all the little stuff that we be celebrating now, Juneteenth, July 4th. That all has to do with law, y'all. War and law. Understand a lot of stuff we celebrate through the year. President's Day, St. Pat, it all go back to war and acts of war and constitutional I would say lawful powers. So they was trying to get into the law in many different ways.
Congressman Beck was speaking in this case of the Farm Bill. This document goes ahead and says that the Farm Bill was passed by a vote of more than 3-1. So if that be the case, and an emergency is declared in this country, and when it's declared, the Constitution is suspended, then that means that we could possibly lose our rights and our freedoms under that emergency power. Let's now go to Senate Report 93-549, a document that was written by our United States Senate in 1973. And let's read the first sentence of the foreword. It says that since March the 9th, 1933, the United States has been in a state of declared national emergency.
Now, did you hear that, child? 1933, family. A declared state of a national emergency. So we go make sure that we stay on that 1933 because they had the Great World's Fair, Chicago, 1933. A lot of mobsters, mafia, little flat hat wearers out there. A lot of stuff going on. The New York Olympics of 1932 when they had the LA Olympics of 1932. So understand, y'all, it's a lot going on. So let's pay attention.
In 1973, and let's read the first sentence of the forward. It says that since March the 9th, 1933, the United States has been in a state of declared national emergency. Now go back to what Congressman Beck said. He says, of all the damnable heresies that have ever been suggested in connection with the Constitution, the doctrine of emergency is the worst. Because it means that when Congress declares an emergency, there is no Constitution. And in 1973, our Congress is stating that since March the 9th of 1933, the United States has in fact been in a state of declared national emergency. That same document, reading on, says, under the powers delegated by these statutes, the President may seize property, organize and control the means of production, seize commodities, assign military forces abroad, institute martial law, seize and control all transportation and communication, regulate the operation of private enterprise, restrict travel, and in a plethora of particular ways, control the lives of all American citizens. Reading on from this same document at Exhibit 11, we find that a majority of the people of the United States have lived all their lives under emergency rule.
Now, what they say, family, most of all of their lives, they have lived under emergency rule, family. Come on now. Hey, what's up, mama? Hey, man, you can do me a favor?
Have lived all their lives under emergency rule. For 40 years, freedoms and governmental procedures guaranteed by the Constitution have in varying degrees been abridged by laws brought into force by states of national emergency. And in the United States, action taken by the government in times of great crisis have, from at least the Civil War, in important ways shaped the present phenomenon of a permanent state of national emergency.
A permanent state, child.
So if this be the case, and that an emergency could be declared in this country, then we should find evidence of that in the supreme laws of our land, in the Constitution. And if we go to Article 1, Section 9 of our Constitution at Exhibit 12, we find the privilege of the writ of habeas corpus shall not be suspended unless when in cases of rebellion or invasion, the public safety may require it. The writ of habeas corpus, the great writ of liberty, which says the American people are free from the abuses and usurpations of the power of government. Because if government tries to use its arbitrary prerogative power against the people, we the people retain the great writ of liberty, which says that if you try to do anything to us that is in violation of the procedural due process of law, we retain the great writ. We file the writ and you have to release us. So there we see that government could not abuse its people. But we also find that it says unless, when in cases of rebellion or invasion, the public safety may require it.
Huh? Rebellion? Invasion? Come on. So who was rebelling? Who was invading? Let's find out, family.
So here it's contemplated that during a time of great peril, like an invasion of a foreign foe, then yes, we the people gave our government the power to suspend that great writ in order to protect us against that invasion. And it was very vivid that once the invasion was over, though, then we must return back to the normal peacetime constitution and the limitations of the powers of that government. We also look at Exhibit 13, Amendment 5 to our Constitution, and it says that no person shall be held to answer for a capital or otherwise infamous crime unless on a presentment or indictment of a grand jury. So here we see again that the federal government cannot charge our people with a crime, that we reserve that right to ourselves, and said that the only way one of our people can be charged with a crime is if we, the people, through the grand jury, order the government to do it.
The only way you can do that, child, is by way of affidavit. So shout out to Dave Jose teaching me about the affidavits. And that's why even right now, when it come down to, you know, us really taking back our country correctly and going to the Supreme Court, you got to know some law, y'all. And so I understand the highest forms of law. I understand how to take it past the state constitution to the Magna Carta, to the Bible, understanding that the Bible is the highest form of law. It is the supreme law. By law of the U.S. Constitution, they said and put it on the court record that the Bible is the highest form of law of the nation and of the world. So again, the Bible is the highest form of law. Nobody can really use the Bible because they first of all are not representing themselves. They are minors, and therefore they're being represented by a bar association, which really has no standing in true law of God and common law, air, and commercial law. Because even in the commercial law, they are still only persons and even corporations themselves. Another corporation, a public entity, a public entity made to do work for a public person who again is dead. So if they're not bringing you into your living soul capacity, a lawyer can't do that. A lawyer can't say, hey, this is a living, breathing person, not this social security number and birth certificate officer or judge. Only you can do that yourself. And so that's why we fell off and why we're trying to get back to understanding what real law is and understanding that it was given to Adam. So if it was given to Adam, then that means Eve would have been able to receive and everything, y'all. So it's men and women that we must come back to understand that our paralegals, our people who are in the judicial system, whether it be the legislative branch, judicial, or the hold on, I forgot to say the administrative, what it is, legislative, judicial, and the executive branch, that they all are really just administrators, managers, and executives at the beginning of the day. They are executives in their own little way, but all little managers, family. And so again, we got to put our trustees in place and let them know the heirs of God, the heirs of the true trust, the King George Trust, the contract made with the U.S. government for them to do the right things, but they did the wrong thing. We are the ones, not we the people. It's the heirs. You know what I'm saying? The royal heirs. We the people is just the people of the government. That's y'all family members. The people who was the government and who was we made that contract with. That's y'all family members, who again still stood under the government of God's people. So the royal government of the kingdom of God was still above the U.S. government, y'all, and many governments around the world. That's why they did what they did and placed Rome, USA, and United Nations at the top, because they had to replace God and his king and kingship and feudalship. They go back to feudalism and all type of things. They mad, bro. They want to call it capitalism, but it was more like, man, God work, family. Had it all on lock.
But then we went ahead and said, except in cases arising in the land or naval forces or in the militia, when the actual service in times of war or public danger. So again, we see it contemplated that in times of great public danger, the indictments of the grand juries could be suspended, and that the government could then, in order to protect us, use that power against we the people. From Senate Report 93-549, we read that they, the government, are quite careful and restrictive on the power, but the power to suspend is specifically contemplated by the Constitution in the writ of habeas corpus. So you see that our congressmen were well aware of that when they wrote in 1973 that the suspension of the Constitution was specifically contemplated in the same Constitution. Our Congress said in 1973 that we were in a permanent state of national emergency, and had been in that emergency since March the 9th of 1933. But now it's 1994. And if in fact we were still under that state of emergency, we should expect to be able to find evidence of that in the current law.
Okay, so he's saying it's 1994 his time. 1973, they published a report that said 61 years later, I believe it was 61 days from, okay, maybe no, 61 is from 1994. So he said it's been secret all the way from 33 all the way up until 94, which I believe is 61 years. So even in 73, when they were still breaking down information, they still were hiding stuff, y'all. And understand in 1994, the Joe Biden crime bill, man, there's a lot going down, man, in between all of these years, y'all. I'm gonna just keep it real, because 73, you got not too much longer after the 1965 with Martin Luther King, the hijack, you know what I'm saying, making us black and dead in law, giving civil rights to the whole world and liberty. They had the counterculture of the music from the hippie era that was coming out of Laurel Canyon, the Hollywood. So let me show them, bring this down real quick. Hollywood Canyon. Let me bring myself down too. So again, Hollywood, y'all, is a big part of it. Disneyland, Sony, Warner, Chapel Warner, who it is? Who I said, Universal, United Music, United Artists, United Artists. So hold on, movie artists. That's what it is. So again, when I brought up the your movie directors and theater holders, they all came into a pact early 1920s, early 1930s, and they made a big old pact. So a big old group of your greatest, not actors, your greatest people who, so it'll be your Weinsteins and all of them up at the top, your Spielbergs, and they came together. So Walt Disney, W.D. Griffith, I think the other dude name was Chappell. Who his name might have been Chappell. I gotta see who his name was. Let me see something real quick, y'all. I got it over here in my notes. I'm gonna let this play while I do that.
If we go to Title 12 USC, the current law that exists today, and go to Section 95B, we can read that the actions, regulations, rules, license, orders, and proclamations heretofore or hereafter taken, promulgated, made, or issued by the President of the United States or the Secretary of the Treasury since March the 4th of 1933, pursuant to the authority conferred by subsection B of Section 5 of the Act of October the 6th, 1917, as amended, are hereby approved and confirmed. Cited at March 9th, 1933, Chapter 1, Title 1 of 48 Statute 1. Now, what's this saying? It's saying that the current law says that every proclamation issued by the President or the Secretary of the Treasury since March the 4th of 1933 are approved and confirmed. And it says that this authority is being conferred by subsection B of Section 5 of the Act of October the 6th, 1917. So in order to understand that more thoroughly, we probably need to go to March the 4th and see what was happening on that day.
Come on now,
If we remember our history, we realize that President Roosevelt was inaugurated on March the 4th of 1933. And if we go to his inaugural address, we find that he says, "I am prepared under my constitutional duty to recommend the measures that a stricken nation in the midst of a stricken world may require. These measures, or such other measures as the Congress may build out of its experience and wisdom, I shall seek within my constitutional authority to bring the speedy adoption. But in the event that Congress shall fail to take one of these two courses, and in the event that the national emergency is still critical, I shall not evade the clear course of duty that will then confront me. I shall ask the Congress for the one remaining instrument to meet the crisis, broad executive power to wage a war against the emergency, as great as the power that would be given to me if we were in fact invaded by a foreign foe." So we see Title 12 saying that since March the 4th, everything's been approved and confirmed. And on March the 4th, we see President Roosevelt asking the Congress for the war powers. Now let's see if he got those war powers. On March the 5th, President Roosevelt in Proclamation 2038 asked for a special session of Congress. That special Congress was called for March the 9th. And on March the 9th, at 48 Statute 1, Congress passed its first act. If we look at the enabling portion of that act, we can read that being enacted by the Senate and House of Representatives of the United States of America in Congress assembled, that the Congress hereby declares that a serious emergency exists and that it is imperatively necessary speedily to put into effect remedies of uniform.
Shit, you try to say that 4-5 times over. That the Congress hereby declares the serious emergency exists. Hold on, wait. That it is imperatively necessary speedily. It is imperative necessary speedily. Yeah, man. One thing I can say, they put some word salad on y'all. Man, look, they whooped us down, y'all. They put some stuff on the books, and they some cool cookie crooks, man. Y'all going down, family. Y'all going to jail, and you going to hell.
National application. So here we see Congress saying that a serious emergency exists and that now under the rules of necessity, we're going to put into effect remedies of uniform national application. We must understand what the rule of necessity is. Necessity is a paramount rule of law, and it simply says that necessity knows no law. This is the rule of self-defense. We know that the law of self-defense says, thou shalt not kill. But yet we also know that in times of dire emergency, when one's life is in danger, that the law says that you can kill if it's to protect your own life. The rule of self-defense. That is the rule of necessity. That once the rule of necessity is declared, that it overrides all other law. That it allows one to do something that would otherwise be unlawful.
Now y'all hear that? That's the same thing with a license. That's the same thing with a certificate. So again, know that y'all getting certificates, licenses, and whether it's a driver's license or a license to get a job or whatever, a commercial license. Are you signing what I just said? Licenses and not contracts. Diplomas. Dang, I forgot. But the legalities of it, y'all, is not, if it's legal, it's not lawful, y'all. And by it being legal, that means you're going against the law. So that means it wouldn't have been possible had everything been correctly the way it is prior to this great takeover.
So here we say in the enabling portion on March the 9th that Congress, under the rules of necessity, is going to pass an act that immediately tells us one thing, that if it's going to be passed under necessity, it would otherwise be unlawful. It would otherwise be unconstitutional. And let's see what the first section of that act says. It says that the actions, regulations, rules, license, orders, and proclamations heretofore or hereafter taken, promulgated, made, or issued by the President of the United States or the Secretary of the Treasury since March the 4th, 1933, pursuant to the authority conferred by subsection B of Section 5 of the Act of October the 6th, 1917, as amended, are hereby approved and confirmed. Where did we just read those same exact words?
Where did we? Let's go.
Title 12 USC 95B. The current law in the United States Code today is Title 1, Section 1 of 48 Statute 1, March 9th, 1933.
I get over there to our U.S. Constitution, man. The USCC.
State of emergency under the rules of necessity to this day. Under that state of emergency, 1933. We continue under that state of emergency under the rules of necessity to this day. Now we find that the authority conferred under Title 1, Section 1 of 48 Statute 1, codified today at Title 12 USC 95B, the powers conferred are under the authority of the Act of October the 6th, 1917. So if that be the case, let's go to that Act of October the 6th, 1917, and see what that Act is. We read that act. It's entitled An Act to Define, Regulate, and Punish Trading with the Enemy.
Come on now.
Now, we've got to realize that in 1917, this country went into World War I. And as a result, we realized that there were probably enemies of this country residing within the continental shelves of our country. So consequently, under this Trading with the Enemy Act, our government took the power to take total authoritarian control over those enemies.
Now, hold on. Now, we finna end it off on right here. Let me bring it over here real quick, y'all. These enemies that they talk about said could have been Americans, family. You hear me? I mean, not Americans. They said it was German, family. The POW camps that was in America, family, though, did they house Germans or did they house Negroes? They said they housed Germans. Let's listen.
Honor Field was once a POW camp. It later housed the Women's Army Corps.
I remember on Sunday afternoon, my father used to drive my mother and our brother out on old Highway 10, where Honor Field is today, but that was a German prisoner of war camp during World War II. And it housed a great many Italian German POWs.
And I was out there when they opened the prison camp.
The prison camp? Hey, Soldiers Field, 1933, Chicago, man. August the 3rd, Jewish Day. July the 4th, sound like a barbecue on the Negro Day. To me, sound like they barbecue niggas to me. Holocaust. We gonna get to it, man. But what do you say? Prison camps, family. Now understand that the Afro-American Negroes went into CCC camps, family. Conservation, what it is, conservation camps. I forgot the C word. This was all through Franklin Delano Roosevelt. So that's why tomorrow when we tap back in on the Trading with the Enemy Act, the National Banking Act, we're going to start there with a little bit of Louisiana maneuvers. But understand, y'all, prison camps, y'all. POW camps, prisoners of war. They saying Germans, they going to say Poles. But one thing I know, them stories got holes for any family. And now the truth is leaking out. Let's listen a little bit.
2 or 3 or 4 German prison trains. And the nicest bunch of people you ever saw.
And the German come on now. Professor told us that they put Negroes on trains, family.
German POWs.
And I was
They
out
put
opened the prison camp.
They put Afro-Americans on trains, told them to pack they up and get out of town.
I handled.
This was more than KKK, family. You understand? This coming from the Great Louisiana Maneuver. So this where your 600,000 troops at. Yeah. This where your 30,000 illegal immigrants coming over to work. We're going to talk about it.
3 or 4 German prison trains. And the nicest bunch of people you ever saw. He said, we caused no trouble. You know, in fact, I have an old radio now that one of those lieutenants gave me, German lieutenants. My son's got it in Houston.
Man, is he talking about?
Lynn Hancock was.
Hold on, man. This nigga like Leo Cohen, family. Mickey Cohen. He looked like one of them. Hold on, man. Mafia, Roman, Czech Republic. Nah, that's what I'm talking about, family. Come on now. But what I fit to say, what that brother was saying, family? He talking about they was about the nicest bunch of people. Yep, man. He ain't talking about Germans, family. He talking about Negroes. Negroes is humble, family. Afro-Americans, man. We the ones who be like, man, look here, even though y'all whooping our ass, family, even though we still believe in God, family. Come on now. Y'all ain't got to do us like this, family. They are not like this. Let's get back to this right here, this last little piece, y'all. I'm gonna let this play out because, y'all, if we don't stand for the right things, we'll fall for anything. And like I say, my forefather, shout out St. Thomas, man. Shout out to the OGs above him that came in the early 1900s, in the mid 1800s, who might have lost their lives, man, who really are the Jews, the Hebrews, the Israel, bro. My grandmother, she a Pauline, she a Paul. She from the Roman, French, Italian, Creole, Cajun. Because my forefather wasn't Cajun, but he was not a native, but an Aborigine, the real American in Louisiana. My grandma on them side was foreigners to Americas, bro. So I can understand like why my family members got this like this. First of all, they got a little lighter red than what they usually do. I'm darker than them, but I realized not why they had this little streak of like meanness in them and like this especially the women, but the men got it too, to where it's like they get angry so fast. Of course, it's Afro-American people too. We all been born with a little PTSD and stuff through all this trauma and all these lies. But for the most part, I realize it's the blood in them that it's that either Canaanite or Ishmael or Esau, but it's that red blood that I seen on this movie that the professor put us on. It was called they was reenacting and telling the story of Adam. No, not Adam. Yeah, it was the biblical story. I gotta figure out what it's called. Green Pastures. So that's the movie. So when I watched Green Pastures, the people that they showed, they looked like the Muslim brothers because they had the crescent moon and they was wearing top hats like these Caucasian people who wear the let me show you again real quick so y'all can see what I'm talking about. Oh, matter of fact, it's right over here. Make it real easy. Go right to the brand, family. And I ain't talking about Raisin Brand. Ugh. But these folks right here, these top hat wear them up. They wore the same hats over on that little movie, The Green Pastures, but it was black folks, Muslims, ones who was wearing the crescent moon on their chest. And so you can understand why, you know, again, how this Selassie and all of them, you know, why they all sold out, family. It's all one big crew, family. You know what I'm saying? Big crew of evilness and trash, family. So now let's look and see how they did my family members on their way through the 1930s, talking about Louisiana maneuvers. We're going to get more into this tomorrow, but I'm just giving y'all a little 4-minute snippet on the way out because I'm on the way out the door on this one because I'm going to bring up a show later. Hey, y'all support the real, man. We're going to heal and build, but we go for show. Keep it real. If you came in, if you ain't hit that like, subscribe, or share, then where's you at? Where's your mind? Where your heart at, man? You don't hear what Rico's saying? You don't hear how I'm putting it down? You don't hear what's going on? Hey, man, support, man. Support the real. The real go link while the fake sink. You hear me? Hit that Cash App, money sign, RICOSGOLD1. Because God is the only one, and Jesus Christ is his only son up in heaven. Adam is the only one down below. So as above, so below. Not putting your ass in the air and your head down so far below, y'all don't understand the words that are coming out of my mouth. Do y'all understand me? We got to get to it, y'all. Nothing to it but to do it. But for the most part, like I said, my forefather was a supervisor on probably a lot of land in Louisiana. But for them to specifically target Leesville, Vernon Parish, Louisiana, I'm really fighting for something, y'all. 600,000 troops, y'all. That's where my forefather stomping ground at. You know what I'm saying? Not as no African immigrant, or no Caribbean immigrant, or no Arabic, Muslim, Islamic, Asiatic immigrant. Nah, my forefather from the dirt of America, family. You hear me? Thoroughbred American. So, man, y'all got a St. Thomas, man. Y'all tripped out, family. I don't know what y'all was thinking.
Why was General George Patton refueling his tanks at Texas gas stations in 1941? Find out in this edition of The Paper Trail. Gas stations and why was General
And George, what you said, Professor? What you taught us with baby girl? That little what you call it, TI-80? That little Terminator machine. What her name was? I forgot the little chick. Man, ladies and gentlemen, y'all, we got to really put down these people who really been saying that they trying to show us what's real. They trying to show us how we should live. They trying to get us off of these lies, whether it's the white man lies, the Bible lies, or maybe you didn't understand the Bible and this how it should be, or maybe it's no Bible, maybe it's this over here. But all of it has got to say they starting off in your spirituality and in your seat of the soul. They trying to get you to vision and envision what they envision. They trying to get you to see what they see, and therefore they trying to walk you right into their world and into their dominion. And when you get over there, you'll realize this is the dominion of Satan. This is nothing but principalities of evil. So you got your principals running around schooling y'all on how to be dualists who serve two masters, or maybe poly-minty. Because if you serve two, you'll serve it even more. So again, man, it's only one true living God. And we must keep our eyes focused on the Most High. Let it fly. Surely, you stick with the dualists, the hermetics, the alchemy, the astrology, the cosmology, all in the wrong way, all that other stuff, the anthropology, philosophy, psychology, whatever you want to call it, family. If y'all stay on it in the wrong way, you should surely die, family.
George Patton refueling his tanks at Texas gas stations in 1941? Find out in this edition of The Paper Trail. When General George Marshall became U.S. Army Chief of Staff on September 1st, 1939, Germany was invading Poland. Great Britain and France declared war on Germany. The United States Army had less than 190,000 soldiers, including Philippine scouts and Army nurses. The 200,000-member National Guard was in worse shape. Equipment was old, scarce, or completely unavailable.
Now, family, how is I'm just confused, y'all. Even though we just come out of a stock market crash, you know, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, he gonna do what he do in 1933 to get the economy back rolling, steamrolling, matter of fact. So it shouldn't be, one thing I can say, America should be in fine shape by 1939 because they did so much from 1933, from 1929 on up until 1939, at least for a decade. Now, it's definitely more going before from 1960. But y'all telling me that you saying y'all had the worst equipment ever, y'all ain't, and y'all been technologically advancing stuff since 1865. From what y'all saying, what y'all tell us, from 1865, y'all ain't look back, family. Y'all was creating and then inventing and patenting all type of stuff, family. From 1865, y'all shot out the gates so much fast, family. All types of things, you know what I'm saying? You got your Renaissance era of man, you got your golden age of man, you got your iron age, your industrial revolution, your reconstruction, deconstruction. Man, y'all was, man, what's going on? How, this, I don't believe this right here. We're gonna let y'all talk though.
Guardsmen were wearing tattered World War I era uniforms and sleeping in.
You know what this remind me of? This remind me of Haile Selassie. How Haile Selassie got our supposedly got Afro-American troops over there, and his soldiers ain't even have on shoes, family. He got tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people ready to fight. They ain't even got no shoes on. Come on, family. Come on. Hey, we're gonna have to dive on that when we get into the history. But come on, family. No shoes on, Holly. How your army ain't had no shoes?
World War I tents, and their blankets were moth-eaten and decayed. Marshall had learned in World War and were completely unavailable. Guardsmen were wearing tattered World War I era uniforms and sleeping in World War I tents, and their blankets were moth-eaten and decayed. Marshall had learned in World War I that military doctrine was outdated, that senior officers didn't have experience commanding large forces, and that coordination amongst Army units was all on paper. It took 18 months for the United
This Jay Parrish right here, this the leader of the Afro-American unit. I believe it was the 83rd Infantry or the 93rd. So remember these characters, Jay Parrish, you got your General S. Patton, and you're going to have one more that I want to remember, but these was the people from World War I and World War II who took over the most largest units of Afro-Americans. So if they had 150, 300,000, 1 million Afro-Americans going to war, he was a person that was over the army or the group. General S. Patton was, and it was one more. I got to remember his name.
United States to send any coherent units to France after war was declared in Washington, D.C. He remembered, quote, the unfortunate results of Corps command by individuals who had never commanded divisions in actual operations, close quote, and the unnecessary loss of lives at the beginning of the Meuse-Argonne battle.
Bro, all this right here, all these pictures, these in America, family. One thing I'm going to tell y'all about Leesville, they said Leesville was plush with trees, family. They said once they finished doing their war stuff, the trees was gone, but also they trying to flip the story and say in 1865, when the state was discovered, that in between 1865, prior to the war, the trees was destroyed. So was the trees destroyed when y'all was doing the Louisiana maneuvers, or was the trees destroyed? Come on, y'all. What did y'all do?
On his watch. After President Roosevelt declared a limited national emergency, Marshall knew that the few regular Army units could not absorb a large number of personnel, and that the National Guard troops would need to be federalized to spread out the new recruits.
So there you go, federal troops now. So now you got if the Federal Reserve wasn't created until 1913, and they got federal troops, they type for the train over all federal troops, they say, and stuff like that. Then y'all understand, bro, this is our federal government tied in, United Nations, American, all America, United States, under the Roman Catholic Church, ready to do some bad things. They do bad things.
Then he planned to train them in maneuvers larger than the United States had ever seen.
Huh?
He had to convince Congress to fund this endeavor that he admitted would be expensive. In his notes on maneuvers from February 1940, Marshall wrote, the expense of maintaining our army is heavy, but to maintain the troops without properly training them would be inexcusably wasteful, as well as highly dangerous in the present world situation. The Army has never been permitted to train in time of peace except on a basis so limited that the officers have been largely without practical knowledge of the management.
Now let me ask y'all. They've been in World War One. Hold on. America have been in war since 1776. How did they drop so low in knowledge from 1917 up until 1939 when they just went to war or was getting ready for all kind of war going on, y'all? From 1920, late 1920s to all the way to 1939. Why did they wait all of a sudden? You hear me? Why did they wait all of a sudden to say, hey, well, let's round up 500, 600,000 troops, go down to Louisiana, kick some ass on each other. We're going to kick each other ass, and then we're going to go to war over there. We're going to kick some more ass, but we got to make sure we get it right in Texas and Louisiana first before we do it.
And leadership of brigades, divisions, and Army Corps. This year, a great emergency and the wise direction of the president has given the Army, for the first time in peace, an opportunity to learn how to fight as a team. Morale is high.
He said this great emergency. This year, a great emergency and the wise direction of the. Come on now, y'all. So how long is them emergency war powers going? We got
are
to figure
actually
out.
building a field army. Marshall selected Lieutenant General Leslie McNair, the Chief of Staff.
Man, one thing I can say, I see Negroes that look just like this, family. Paint that man over, brown skin, tan. I promise, I just was at work with my little partner. His head, face looked just like, except his head is even more rounder. Man, come on now, y'all. If this not his white-skinned twin, family, when I say, family, leprosy at its finest, family, y'all are just, in fact, subhumans, family. Y'all have mixed in with animals, Anunnaki, aliens, no matter what color y'all is, family. Y'all bit off, man. Y'all bit off some crazy stuff.
For the general headquarters and later leader of the Army ground forces during the war as training officer for the maneuvers. McNair's greatest concern embarking on this exercise was Corps command. Previously, Corps commanders have been trained only theoretically, and practical operations would be very different. Marshall asked McNair to literally grade the division commanders as a process of wisely choosing Corps commanders. In testifying to Congress to justify the expense of a large-scale maneuver, Marshall is reported to have said, quote, "My God, Senator, that's the reason I do it. I want the mistakes down in Louisiana, not over in Europe," close quote.
What mistakes is that, man? Do you talking about the mistakes of evil y'all doing?
The area chosen for this first large-scale maneuver, set for September 1941, was northwestern Louisiana, bounded by the Sabine River and Texas border.
Now again, oh man, I know you Sabians, wasn't it? Look, she said the Sabian, man, I never, sometimes y'all got to just hear these words a little different. We always call it the Sabine River. Sabian family, let me find out you Sabians was over here. Man, is the Sabians the mulattoes and the Cajuns and the Creole? Man, hold on, Lord. We're gonna break through. We're gonna break through this veil of disgustingness and confusion and evil. Because one thing I say, they say they cranking up in 1941, but when we get to studying tomorrow, or when we bring back the history in the next day or two, if not tomorrow, I thought they said they started in 1939 is when they pulled up in Louisiana. We got to figure
to
it
the
out.
west, to just east of the Calcasieu and Red Rivers on the east.
Not the Calcasieu Poo-Poo, the Kadukadu, the Foo-Foo from
Shreveport to the north, some 3,400 square miles.
In the Mesopotamian Sumerian era, they got a god, a king named Kukapoo, Dukadu, Dudu, Poo-Poo. Man, come on.
More than 400,000 soldiers, both regular Army and National Guard, would participate, forming a Red Army.
See, yeah, that's why you got to do your cross references. She's saying 400,000. They said 600,000.
And a Blue Army.
It might have been 1,150,000. Might have been 6.8 billion pulled up. Come on.
And totaling 19 divisions. This would be the largest maneuver ever conducted in the United States. First, the Red Army attacked south on the Blue Army for 4 days.
Now, y'all look, gangs right here. You hear me? Red, put your red, where your red flags at, man? Grab your blue flag. Hey, my flag hanging down to the left side. Yeah, you know, that's the Crips. Hey, what's up, man? As we cripping or we slipping, we slipping or dripping around here, man. Understand, y'all, this why the red, the blue, the proton against the electron is going to always continue to happen. Atom against atom, atom against Eve against Eve, children against themselves. They want to continue this war game, war tactics of we got a Hegelian dialect. We control both sides, place Afro-Americans, the Jews, and Israel in the middle, and we're going to destroy them. That's what they want to do. You know what I'm saying? They saying, hey, we want to make sure that they stay lost in the South, family. They want to make sure that our people stay right here to never come out. Always led in the direction that they want, to hell. They want to keep us in hell, family. So that's why we got to come out of it. You know what I'm saying? Each and every day, each and every way, we got to come out of this. Let's get to it.
Crossing the Red River proved problematic. Lieutenant General Ben Lear had to send his armored forces north to cross at Shreveport and Coshada, losing valuable time. This first phase ended with units bogged down fighting, not making much headway. Second, the Blue Army, now with Major General George Patton's armored troops, spent 4 days.
This boy came with armored troops? Now, is this what y'all talk about when y'all call the this another thing about the wagon wheel too. The wagon wheel was used as a military vehicle to hide soldiers in. So when y'all understand the bull reference, I'm trying to think of one movie. I think I watched this movie Immortals, and they did the same thing. The what they call it, I forgot what it's called though, y'all. It's something specific that it's called when they do that tactic. But yeah, you know, this was one thing that the Taborites, these people who came from the Czech Republic, and these Russians, these Polish, these Italians, that was one of their favorite uses of the wagon, was to create a surprise attack by hiding in their wagons and creating a top over it to where, you know, they would be able to pop up. So think about the birthday cakes, y'all. You popping up out your birthday cake. You think about the whack-a-moles. You think about the Jack in the Boxes. You know what I'm saying? So they like the element of surprise. Loki, devils, you know what I'm saying that, hey, we friends, we good, but really cooping the whole nation, man.
Is attacking the Red Army to the north at Shreveport. The training was proceeding much as the first phase had, but then Patton decided to attack the Red Army from the north, so he took his tanks across the Sabine River into Texas, buying gas at—
Man, this boy, they came with Sabians, family. So, man, there's no reason you're supposed to be bringing around tanks. Man, they did bad things.
Stations along the way. This effort allowed the armor to capture the Red Army staff at Barksdale Field near Shreveport. The Louisiana maneuvers tested Army doctrine, organization, and equipment. They also answered McNair's worry about Corps commanders as he submitted—
Freddy Krueger, family? Pope Benedict? Come on now. Is this Freddy Krueger, the real Krueger? Man.
This report card of all division commanders and a few who didn't command to Marshall. The Louisiana maneuvers also showed that given a chance, the United States Army could and would pull the unpredictable, and that opposing armies should never allow their attention diverted from the Americans.
I only wonder what the unpredictable was, y'all. I can only imagine, y'all. This bad to the family. Let us pray. My Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us for our sins as we forgive those who sin against us. Forgive us for our debts as we forgive those who are indebted to us. And lead us not, my Father, into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever and ever, my Father. I want to thank you for waking us up to give us strength and putting knowledge and new wisdom and new understanding into our minds, into our spirit, on our hearts, Father, so we will be able to go out into the world and now have a renewed mind, a renewed view of things, the right perspective from the zenith point through you, Father God, through Jesus Christ, through the Spirit of truth, so we can understand what spirits we are fighting, because this is not a battle of just flesh and blood, but also the spiritual, Father. So we must know how to get up every day and go out and fight, protecting not only ourselves, but protecting those who are around us, being accountable not only for ourselves, but for those who are around us too. So that must mean we must lead with the full armament of God, you know, having morals, values, and integrity, and emotional aptitude and control, having the universal principles of God on our minds and hearts. It's already written on our souls and spirits, y'all. But to be able to wake up every day and refresh yourself to it through a hard day, understanding yesterday is yesterday, and what today may bring, if God is the one true living God, and you still have breath in your lungs, and you still have the breath of life in you, you know what I'm saying? The breath of life in you, you hear what I'm saying? And you have a sound mind, then anything before you can be behind you and be up under you. Whatever is against you can be your footstool. Y'all hear what I'm saying? So you trust in God and you put your God first. Faith of a mustard seed, y'all. Y'all don't lose that, okay? So next episode, we're going to be bringing up the definition of instrument, and we're going to be talking about a couple of different definitions that's regarding around this 1933 Emergency Banking Act. We're going to be talking about a little bit more about the Louisiana maneuvers. And we're going to be bringing up a couple of things about the Pope at that time and a couple of little players at that time. Also, we're always going to keep a good consistent time frame of knowing it's only been 68 to almost 7,000 years, 6,800 to almost 7,000 years, being that Adam and Eve being the first ones to be put on this earth by God through the breath of life into the dirt, knowing that Jesus Christ is big brother, the first angel in the celestial bodies, fallen angels and the ones who are good, they are big brothers. And then the second angels is Adam, Eve, and our lineages up to this point. And so therefore we're the only ones with free will, y'all. There's no other entity in the world. No, it ain't no dog, no cat, no chair, no music, no none of this, family, that has a spirit, mind, body, emotions and can use free will, y'all. So again, there ain't nothing else in the realm, in the universe. God, the first angels, second angels. That's it, family. So just be grateful that we are those second angels with free will, and we're not on a, what's the word I'm looking for? On a cycle predetermined by the Father. You know what I'm saying? Even though he know everything, and even though we do have a little control of our own destiny, he do put stuff in our path, is to say our free will is our free will, thankful from the Father. That's the greatest thing Father God gave us, was the breath of life and free will. You know what I'm saying? Not to do bad things, but to follow him and come back to him through the furnace. And so, Father God, we want to thank you for that. And we want to thank you that you're watching over the ones that know to call on your name, but also the ones who don't, Father, that you're trying to bring them closer to you, bring them closer to understanding. So I hope my words are reaching out to ones in the darkest of the dark. And so we can bring them back to the light, not to the lightest of the minds down there with another Shapar. What's her name? Sinetta, little female. And then Moshe Yah. Hi, y'all are crazy and retarded over there, family. Sinetta is too. Your whole crew and everybody you bring up on that show sound retarded, brother. And all the little people that's on the internet right now talking about all type of stuff outside of God or trying to use God and saying that they believe, but talking BS too, man. Y'all sound so crazy now. It's just, man, just thankful that it's all for purposes of entertainment, man. All this media is entertainment. Don't matter how true they say it is, y'all. It's under the Medici, Warburg, Rothschilds. So y'all check me out. I'm gonna have my Danny Garcia, Ryan Garcia, not Danny, my Ryan Garcia probably later. I'm gonna hit y'all up with that because we gotta stop this trafficking. So we're gonna deep dive into that, man, and go into that for probably about an hour and a half because I need y'all to know where this is coming from. Why I'm getting up and fighting, because they stole something from the Jews, Hebrews, Israel, from God, gave it to themselves, created a false time history. They call it time memorial. They gave themselves status, made themselves white, stole the last names, gave themselves last names. Their last names is more like Chabakov and Gorbachev and Oxfordvik and John Weinstein, Bernstein, Burrig, and all type of little African Chickapuku and Ninamu and all type of little names, y'all. So that's not Afro-American. That's not the real people of God. English is the best language smoking and shaking. Thank you, Father God. So I probably understand we probably spoke simple English back in the gap when we first had the Tower of Babel getting pulled down with Nimrod. So for y'all to be able to get back to English and y'all say English is a confusing language or it's the white man's language, y'all retarded. Everybody that denies simple English, that deny the KJV version, 1611, up to date to say with no apocrypha, y'all are retarded. Y'all want to use that new KJV, you want to use the NIV, everything but the KJV. Get in the original. What's wrong with being an originator and keeping it that, family? Especially when it is about the family. You hear me? You want to have a center point of energy, center point of spirituality, a center point of mentality, and a center point of emotions, family. So you can bring it all into the physical. And guess who in that center point? God, the big G, the big Mason, God the Father. You hear me? His son, the Word. You hear me? And then if you want to be in that Adam or Eve, y'all get in there and don't come up outside this. Keep the squares out your circle. You hear me? I'm staying in. Hallowed be thy name. You know, John 16. Hallowed be thy name. No, Jesus Christ said you pray like this, my Father who art in heaven. Hallowed be thy name. He is that infinity circle. He is that eternity. From beginning to end, the Alpha and Omega. Shout out to the Chi Rho, Kev Rho, man. The P, the G. Also me. Yeah, Big Reek. I'm a P and the G, y'all. Let's get to it. And so we just want to thank you, Father God, for each and everything you do, again, each and every day. And let your again kingdom rain down on heaven as it is in the earth, on earth. Give us this day again. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever and ever. If you came in and you ain't hit that like, share, or subscribe, and you hear me getting live before and after. You hear me? What are you doing? Get over there, hit that alert bell, that notification. Hit my my social medias. I'm on Snapchat, Swag King 16. I'm on Facebook, Rico Living, Instagram and Threads, Rico_Living, and hit that Cash App if y'all hear and understanding where I'm coming from. Y'all, we gotta take back not only the nation, family. We gotta let heaven come down from earth, family. It's gonna take one day at a time, one step at a time. But Rico give it to y'all as best as I can. So if y'all like how I'm bringing it and y'all effing with it, and y'all want me to continue to be able to display this wonderful this wonderful, not display, this wonderful exhibit, you know what I'm saying, of information from a concise mind and from a precise place and from a sound mind, continue to support me, y'all, because I can do way more and I can be way better with all of this. Sometimes I come on and I'm confident, but I'm also at the same time, I'm like, dang, I hope they don't do nothing to me. So I know, again, as I'm getting my stuff together, getting it better, I won't even feel like that. So y'all bear with me these next couple of episodes. It's, like I say, I don't mind speaking, don't mind getting in front of people. I'm not scared, family. I'm not scared of denial from others, or I'm not scared of constructive criticism. You hear me? And so again, y'all mess with Rico. We're gonna do this one day at a time, one step at a time, and we're gonna walk from beginning to the end, knowing God ain't pretend. He is the one and only. Cash out, money sign, RICOSGOLD1. Because God is the only one. Jesus Christ is his son, son of God. Adam is the son of God, the son of man. So y'all get ready, because y'all only can do what y'all can. And then when y'all figure out y'all can't do that no more, y'all already know what it is, man. God is good, man. We out, family.